Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It's March 8th.
Gosh, yeah.
Is it the Ides of March?
The Ides of March is March 15th.
Oh.
Yes, the day Julius Caesar was stabbed.
Oh, no, this is the March Crazy Eights.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy Eights.
I never used to love this time of year, but like I like spring now. It's greenery coming back, and it's
not if you have bad allergies, you know.
That's and I have terrible. I was telling you before we started, I've been like coughing all week, and I have like I just know it. Like ever since I moved out to Texas, around this time of year, I get this terrible burst of allergies for like 2 or 3 weeks. And
sorry, what's really funny is I watched this thing on TikTok. There's this guy, I don't know his name. This black dude. He talks about history and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like does it with like a smile. He talks about these like super serious things, and he goes,
"Oh, does he have like a long beard?"
No, he has like dreads. I think he's very nice sounding. Like I can't explain it. He's like does it with a smile, but he delivers like he'll go into like history, and he talks about seasonal allergies, like how they're institutionally racist, and like comes from because it said like it comes in. It's from planting all these trees in like suburban areas that did not belong, like trees belong in these areas. And by doing that, it's created more pollen.
Yep.
And on top of that, environmental changes has created that. But so that's why I like this. People have like really bad, more asthma cases than ever. And allergies have gone up even more over the years because of just like shit like that. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I lived in Chico, and that was the worst allergies because Chico, the Bidwell, the guy who I guess created the town, kind of like the guy who created the Simpsons? What was his name? Springfield?
Yeah, Jebediah Springfield.
Yeah. I love the episode when Lisa finds out he was like a pirate or something.
Yeah, I like when they talk about how he killed a bear with his bare hands. Like,
yeah. He like I guess Bidwell like wanted to, because like I don't even know if Chico, Chico's like in the valley. It was probably like mostly fucking desert or something.
Yeah.
They planted like so many trees that like did not belong in the area. They call it like a city of trees. Because of that, it is just a hotbed of allergies. Like it's just like, every tree you could think of in the country is in Chico, California.
Yeah. I wouldn't say my allergies are like debilitating or anything, but like it really, the first year I moved out here was real bad. And then this year has been pretty bad.
Texas is bad. It is. It had like some of the worst allergies.
Yeah. In Florida, it was, and this is like typical Florida. The only time I really got allergies was when red tide was really bad. They would release all these fertilizers or it was just random shit from Lake Okeechobee into the Caloosahatchee. It would flow into the Gulf of Mexico and then like kill fish, and there'd be toxic algae blooms and shit. It was just brutal. And like throughout the whole city, you'd get like irritated red eyes, and it was rough. But yeah. So anyway, I like spring. Allergies notwithstanding. Well,
speaking of allergies, Joseph, what are we talking about this week?
We're speaking of so the first two things we're going to talk about are both great. The Last of Us and The Mandalorian, both shows with roughly similar plots and similar actors.
Yeah, same actor, similar plot.
Yep.
Different, but very different at the same time. Like when Grogu got raped, that's crazy.
Yeah. This Mandalorian was it's weird.
Let's save it.
Yeah, okay.
What else
we're talking about CPAC, and all the weirdness that comes with that. We're gonna talk about Michael Knowles.
He gave us you saw the thing, right?
Oh yeah.
He gave us a heartwarming speech at CPAC. We'll go into that.
We're gonna talk about the libs of TikTok woman.
Yeah, it's all part of the same shit. She was there too.
Yeah, yeah, she was. Whenever whenever I see her name, I always think like who's Chandra Levy? Was she the woman who was killed by like a politician in
Chandra
Cal-
Levy or something.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
was
that was like
that?
I always consider that like pre 9/11 news because it happened like
Yeah,
in like the same year or like right before 9/11. The politician did not kill her. He was
that's right. Yeah,
he
I
did
forgot
not
about
kill
that.
her.
Anyway, we're talking about her. We're
So
talking about Fox News and Tucker Carlson and kind of all the stuff that's been going along with that. We're talking about a bit John Oliver did on Ron DeSantis. It's like an 8.5 minute bit,
yeah,
and it was real good.
yeah.
And so we'll talk about that. We're talking about some Democratic spoiler candidates,
Well, I don't know.
which
Well, the past ones from like the last election, but it is do it more like with Marianne Williamson running and just like bullshit candidates that just
yeah,
like we'll talk about that.
yeah. I have some kind thoughts and some unkind thoughts about them in general.
Yeah.
We're talking about Elon Musk playing 6D chess by exposing himself to 18 different lawsuits in a series of
He
3
played
tweets.
Russian roulette with himself.
Yeah. So bizarre. And then we're talking about Russell Brand, and we may talk about some other Hollywood greats in that last bit. Maybe Roseanne and Mel Gibson. But we'll talk about Russell Brand mostly. And that's it. That's the show.
Breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Breaking news before we get into it.
Let's hear it.
Lauren Boebert publicly announced that her 17-year-old son Tyler will be making her a 36-year-old grandmother in April.
Yeah,
Boebert, now any of you who have young children or giving life, there's some question that pop up. There's some fears that the rise is Grandma Boebert.
Grandma Boebert. Mima Boebert.
She put out a tweet earlier today. She put out like, my husband isn't in town today, or I'd make him a sandwich. Happy International Women's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, okay, so there's got a lot to unpack in this tweet. Well, first of all, there was an onslaught of people just making jokes about her husband exposing his dick to girls at a bowling alley, which is exactly what happened.
Happened, yeah.
Mostly that was when like Lauren Boebert was a teenager or something. I tweeted it and I said Lauren Boebert's husband is showing his penis to teenage girls at random bowling alleys in the middle of America. Okay, so she's trying to do this like trad wife bullshit. Where she's like, I make my husband a sandwich, while also being a congressperson. You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to like, dude, you're a woman in power, and you're trying to push this like trad wife garbage. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, who's this for? Like, you are literally a little dick. Like, you're a fucking politician. You're in power. Your husband isn't. Your husband's not doing any of that shit. Like, I just love that bullshit. They try to sell that crap.
Yeah. Sarah Palin tried to do that too with her former husband, Todd Palin. It's like
who are you kidding? Like, you're the one in power, first of all. So like, why are you trying to sell this trad wife bullshit? No one believes it. She just sucks.
She does.
She's again, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's proven to be like, the thing is she almost lost by 500 votes. Literally 500 votes is what she's in there. And she has not changed a bit. No,
they've all the bad ones have doubled down.
Yeah.
The one thing I did read, and not that I'm defending him, but the one thing I did read, I read an article the other day that talked about how all of the Republicans got even more right wing once they got in office, despite what they promised. But the one that hasn't has been one of the shittiest ones, in my opinion. J.D. Vance. They said he's become a lot more like open to compromise and more liberal since getting elected.
We'll see.
He's
only been there like 2 months at most. So
and he's still he's still a big MAGA chud. But they're saying that he's the one who hasn't gotten worse, has actually like been better.
Well, he's played along with all the identity politics bullshit, so I wouldn't trust anything with that guy. You know, he jumped on the whole. He spread the bullshit about how Biden didn't care about the people in Palestine because they're white, which is exactly what they tried to push. That, you know, having Trump go down there and being like, "Look, white people are forgotten. I'm here to remember you."
Yeah,
people that I helped poison with my deregulations.
It's crazy.
I'm here to remind you that I'm the one who did that. You're in this situation, but here's some old Trump water.
Right. Yeah.
Tepid room temperature Big Macs that were in the back seat of my car for 3 weeks.
The fillet of E. coli.
Salmonella nuggets. Salmon nuggets. All right. So speaking of, what do you want to talk about first? So, like, Mandalorian was really good. Episode 2, season 3, and then episode 8 of The Last of Us. I think it's the last episode.
It is.
The Last of Us is super dark. You know, it's a fucked up episode. Mandalorian, I mean, it was good.
We can talk about Mandalorian first.
Cyborg, that thing that thing was sick. It was like, it reminded me like General Grievous a bit.
It did. I thought the Mandalorian. It's weird. The first episode and then this episode.
Want to talk about Mandalorian first?
Yeah, let's talk about Mandalorian first.
Okay.
It wasn't like a big story, but it was really, really good. It felt like when I was watching it, I was like, this feels like what Star Wars set out to be, which was kind of like a 1950s serial. You could have almost imagined this one episode chopped up into like 6 or 7 minute bits, you know.
So we're gonna spoil this episode. Yeah. Warning. We're also gonna spoil The Last of Us. And we're also gonna spoil Michael Knowles' speech.
Yeah.
CPAC.
It's all getting spoiled.
Everything's getting spoiled. Some stuff already comes spoiled already.
Yeah.
Because they're rotten. So Mandalorian, what I like about this show sometimes is they do something where they kind of set up something for the next episode, and you think like it's gonna be this thing, it's gonna like drag out the whole season. And they're like, no, fuck it, we're doing it next episode. Yeah. We're already on the case. You know, it was like in the third I remember like season 2, third episode, that's when you met like Bo-Katan. It was like the one like that seaport and Baby Yoda got thrown into like a sea monster. Remember that?
So
like
sad.
Yeah. That's when Bo-Katan. That's when you introduce Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan brings up like you need to go see Ahsoka, or whatever. And it was like, oh, they're gonna drag us out. No, next episode. Showed up. So the plot in this one was like, I need a robot that I could trust, so I could go down to Mandalore and see if the you know shit's the air clean and stuff. I can't do it. I need a robot to do it. And the whole thing is that he needs to have IG-11, even though an IG-11 needs a certain part. So I was like, oh great. So now it's gonna be this like adventure where he has to go and get a part and he has to do this. And then like he goes to Tatooine and visits what's her face?
Amy Sedaris.
The woman from Strangers with Candy.
Yeah.
What was her name again on that?
Jerry Blank.
Jerry Blank. Yeah, Jerry Blank was there. Jerry Blank with a fro. And she convinces him, no, here, take this, take RD5 or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I love that it's the robot from fucking Star Wars that blows a gasket. It is literally that robot. He's shown, that thing has shown up in a couple other like episodes.
What is it, R5D4? Or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever?
He had his own figure.
He has had many figures, but yes, he had his own figure. My favorite was they made a reissue of the figure, like a new one, when they did the toy line in the 90s. And I guess everything had to have like action features. So that one, like, they were like, I don't know, they have it just like opens up, holding up, and it shoots a missile.
Oh, I remember that.
It was like from 96 or 95. This is not from the original toy line. It's from like,
I think I remember this. Yeah.
I was like, I wonder like what the logic behind it. It opens up like a whole thing, like it's like clamps open. It opens up, and in the middle there's a rocket that shoots out, which is kind of funny because like in Star Wars, a little thing does shoot out of his head.
Yeah, like, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Then something breaks in his head.
Yeah.
And I guess he still had similar problems. But yeah, she tries pointing that droid on him, and she's claiming he's like a rebel hero, and he's just like, woo, he's like,
Yeah.
scared. He's like a scared little robot. It's like really funny. I love though they show her like she's like talking to Rhodey, and he's complaining about the car not being fixed, and
Yeah.
parts. She just uses her fucking Jawas to like steal it. Like,
Yeah, she's running like a chop shop or something.
Yeah, this whole racket, you know.
Yeah.
So funny.
It was good. It reminded me of like 1950s sci-fi serial type of stuff. I mean, the whole episode was really great. It didn't do like a ton. I mean, I guess you saw The Mandalorian.
Well, I mean, you got to go to Mandalore. It was a big deal. I mean,
Oh yeah,
about the entire series. I mean, you know, you saw Mandalore and the Clone Wars, and again, it's funny because it's like if you're watching the season and you did not watch those 2 episodes in Book of Boba Fett, you're going to be confused because they were like some of the most important stuff. The most important stuff in this season, it comes from the Book of Boba Fett episodes with the Mandalorian, because that's when you learn about. They show Mandalore getting bombed and by the Empire,
right?
All in that, and it's like, it's just funny. Like, it's a weird story structure. It's like, I would imagine now if you're watching the Mandalorian, there's probably a really, really good chance you watched the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I would say,
imagine you
right.
did. If you didn't, then you don't really like Star Wars. That's just a fact. Everyone
if you
like Star Wars, if you watch everything.
Right. If you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, then you're going to be okay with the little lapses in The Mandalorian because you don't really care. You know, you've already shown that you don't really care.
Yeah, you don't care. Yeah, you clearly don't care about Baby Yoda. Not like I do.
The whole thing could be set in like 1950s Wisconsin, and it wouldn't matter to you because you just don't care.
You're just a passive, cavalier Mandalorian fan.
Right. It's like some people watch all the episodes of the Muppet Babies, but out of order. Fucking amateur hour.
Yeah,
you know.
There's a story being told.
Right.
A story. You can't have that shit. Actually, it's kind of funny you brought that up. Wasn't that was like the big issue, I think, with Firefly when it aired?
Oh yeah, they did. They aired
it. Was that they completely aired it out of order, which did not help the show at all.
No. They did everything that could go wrong with that show did. It was still great, but yeah.
They set it up almost like
set it up to fail. But this episode of The Mandalorian was great. It was Bo-Katan a villain in the original?
In the Clone Wars, I don't know. She might have been like, she's like, her sister was like the queen or something, and she ended up like falling in with like the Death Watch, whatever they were called.
Okay.
Kind of funny because like the main guy was voiced by who's the guy? Not Dave Filoni, the other guy, that director actor. Who's the main person working.
Yeah.
What's his name? From Swingers.
Yeah. This is
Look it up, man. You have
I'm on it. Oh, I'm John Favreau.
Yeah, there you go. I was going on IMDb. So he did the voice of like the main bad guy who like she worked for, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it was always like a weird, like complicated story with the whole Mandalore thing. And she ended up being like kind of like a bad guy or working with the bad guys. But then like in Rebels, she kind of like, I don't know. She's like one of those people that kind of just like, you don't really know where she's going. Yeah. And I feel like that's the same thing with this show. Like she is like a strong ally to Dijon Mandalorian in this episode, but like you don't really know where she's going. It's like
a Lando kind of character.
But maybe even worse because like Lando is just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, like she wants that dark saber. She uses it in the episode. She knows how to use it.
Uses it better than the Mandalorian too.
Yeah, well, she had it. So the whole like weird plot they talked about in the show was that like it was all about like you had to defeat someone in battle, and in theory, if you go by it, Obi-Wan should be the leader of the Mandalorians because he's the one who defeated Darth Maul.
Darth
Maul had it last, but Sabine from Rebels got it and then gave it to Bo-Katan. But it was not done through battle. She just gave it to her. So, like, it didn't follow the rules, really. And then I guess she lost it to Grand Moff Gideon. Carlos Esposito.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll be back at all.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, even just to see what what he's up to.
Yeah.
They just show him in a jail and he's just hanging out, like playing.
Where did we see him last? I know.
Well, he got captured in the end. He lost.
Yeah.
That's when Mando won the Darksaber, was
Right.
battling him. But he wanted battling Bo-Katan. But like, it's like a messed up because like Bo-Katan didn't win through a battle.
Right.
It's like a whole whatever. So Mandalorian has it, and the joke is, it's like Mandalorian having this is almost the equivalent of like Gollum having the ring.
Right.
Kind of useless. Like, not to say that he's sitting there going, "My precious." It's just that,
right.
Mando does not really have like he just wants to like get back in with his weirdo cult,
religious cult. Yeah.
They don't seem to follow that Darksaber thing. They don't seem to give a shit. Like, because if they did, I saw some online say like, well, since he has a Darksaber, can he just say to that armory lady like, "Hey, bitch, I'm in charge." Like,
yeah.
I'm in charge, and you know what? I decree you can take your helmet off once a month.
Yeah, I mean, why would
it's
that
like
work?
in like Christianity, you hear like apostles or whatever, and they come in and they're like, "Well, I'm changing the religion a little bit.
Right.
Now you don't have to like stone your daughter if she looks at you funny."
Right. Yes. It's a new day.
It's a brand new day, But I mean, like, he in theory supposedly can do that. Like, he could, in theory, be like, "Yeah, we don't have to wear helmets anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in charge. I decree." But I don't think they follow that. But like her group of Mandalorians do. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. But I feel like him having it is like, it's like Gollum having the ring, where it's just like the main purpose is to be well wielded by like a potential leader.
Yeah.
And he does not seem to be one to have it. Like, I remember one of my favorite scenes in Book Boba Fett was when he goes on like that bus and the droid's like, "You gotta like take all your weapons off and just put it in the compartment that the secured compartment, and they'll get it when it gets off." And it's just funny because it's like this the Darksaber, which is this like, he just like plops it in there like it's just like any other like knife or whatever. And it's like anyone who would know, they'd be like, "That is so sacred." Like, it's just funny because it was just like he's put it in his compartment and it's like, "Yeah, I'll go get it later if I remember to pick it up." And
that's funny. Yeah,
but that's right. That droid like took all the weapons off of him. Bo-Katan was able to grab it, and yeah, she wielded it. But she didn't. I don't know. She helped him out in this episode and ended up being like an ally. I have theories about that though. So, did you know? Okay, so real quick, let's go through the plot real fast. They go Grogu and Mando go to Tatooine.
Yep.
Boonta Eve, I guess it has to do with. I was like watching a thing, and Boonta Eve was actually also in episode 1 when they do the pod race.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's supposed to celebrate some like ancient Jabba, some ancient hut.
Okay.
Like, that's why Boonta the hut or whatever. I don't know. And that's what you saw all the fireworks going off and everything. I was like, they always show like Baby Yoda looking out the window, and it's like always in wonder, like, like when he sees the like those space whales in the last episode.
Yeah,
that was cool. That's from an episode 2. I forgot what they're supposed to be. It has something to do with what do you call it? Like space travel, like light. Those things like ride the like hyperspace, and I don't know. There's like setting up for other shows with those. The fact that those things. So, she says take R5D4. Then they go to Mandalore. I like Mandalorians like teaching Grogu how to like that he has to navigate space, and that's part of being a Mandalorian. And I feel like, is it? You're just making up shit.
Yeah. That seems made up.
Another episode.
It does. Yeah.
Like, just like real, like I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to think of like just something stupid, and he's like, "This is what a Mandalorian does," and it's just like has nothing to do with anything. So they go to what?
He just tells dad jokes. It's like the way of the Mandalorian. It's like,
so he goes to they go to Mandalore, they have
Yep.
the robot check in and everything. They get attacked by like these cave monsters that I guess are, because I guess the thing too about Mandalore is like the Mandalorian, like that's not really their home. That
Yeah.
planet. Supposedly they're not native to that planet. Those creatures are though, those cavemen, like they're native to the planet. I guess
Yeah.
the actual Mandalorians are not.
No.
Well, it's interesting because like Star Wars has like humans, but like where do they come from?
Yeah, that is a weird question.
Because they're all over the galaxy, and
there's no talk of like visiting the home world, you know. Well,
I was kidding.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like I said, the Mandalore is like kind of destroyed and everything was like turned to glass because of like, I don't know, they did something that like basically turned all the sand.
They nuked it. Yeah.
Yeah. The Empire. So it's been inhabitable. What's the word?
Yes, uninhabitable.
Uninhabitable for years or decades or whatever. And they go down there to the, like Baby Yoda's in his little pod.
Mm.
And he's like, that's the thing too. Like supposedly he spoke in this episode. He flipped. The best is when he flipped and jumped into Jerry Blank's arms, and he says like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? And she's like, that's his first word. So they're like, what would Grogu's first word be? And like, it's Grogu time.
I saw that.
No, I like Cody from Somewhere New said Star Wars. That'd be his first word. Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of Grogu stuff in this episode. He does like a lot of like he's starting to become a little bit more independent and like he's able to use the Force more. He does those flips. Again, you've got to watch those episodes of Book of Boba Fett where he's training with Luke. And I guess Jon Favreau said like the timeline, people are like confused. They said that he was with Luke for 2 years.
Yeah, I saw that timeline. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It doesn't make sense when you think about it that way.
I mean, it's definitely 2 years if you go by like how long it took the show to come out and everything. If you're going by that,
true.
But I feel like really it felt like maybe like a month, 2 months. I mean, I don't know. I guess
that is a weird one.
Yeah, but you could tell he's like definitely a little more like independent. He's still Grogu, but he's like he's starting to like be able to take care of himself a little more. He has better use of the Force. He doesn't like, like in that first season when he used the Force and then he like tuck her out.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it was kind of cute. You'd be like, ooh, like he can like do more things. Like when he knocks that one cave thing out, that was pretty sick. Remember, he just like fucking Force pushes him out of the fucking cave.
Yeah, there's some great scenes in this.
So they go down and then they get captured by this insane like spider robot, and
it's really cool looking.
Yeah, the Mandalorian's like captured in this like thin ass cage that like he can't move for shit, and he literally tells Grogu, get in the ship and go find Bo-Katan.
Yes,
so, like Grogu's got to go by himself, get in the ship. Yep. I love to see him flip into the ship.
Right, that was
like
good.
I can watch that all day. What I love about it is sometimes it's literally just them throwing a puppet.
Yeah.
Like they're not even doing like a CGI. It's just like a dummy getting tossed.
Practical effect.
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And he gets in the ship, he tells the robot, he points to the screen, goes, oh, and then they go to Bo-Katan and so okay, this is my little theory about Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Okay, does she want to kill Mando or she want to marry Mando? Because like in the last episode you see her sitting on the throne and she's trying to like be all cool the way she's sitting, and she's trying to like being like a little bit of like a dominating pose, like I'm just chilling on my throne, you don't need to me, Mando, get out of here, whatever. And then when Baby Yoda shows up, she's not really cool anymore. She's kind of just sitting sulking on the throne, looking a little more pathetic. Because she does, it's like Grogu shit, I feel like, did you see that TikTok I sent you that girl made?
Well, which one?
The one where she's Bo-Katan on the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so funny. It's like she's sitting there like pretending to be like Bo-Katan, like, hey, she's sitting there like in her sweatshirt or whatever, just chilling, and then like they're like, DeJarn's here, and she's like, oh shit. She's like, like trying to pose on the throne and be cool. Like, because it was like, come on, you don't sit like that all day. You knew he was coming.
You can't.
What? No,
you can't.
Yeah, that can't be comfortable. After a while, you're gonna get cramped. But totally did that to show off to him. But like I said, when Grogu showed up, it was like it made me think of the TikTok. I was like, man, that's like really funny. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think she likes him? Like she like wants to jump his bones?
Jeez.
Or do you think she wants to kill him so she could take the Darksaber and be the queen or whatever the fuck they call it in Mandalore?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, because like I said, I don't have a ton of information about the character. My guess would be that she's going to try to like seduce him, and then if that doesn't work, then turn more of a villain. Although that seems like a pretty basic way to handle that story, and this show's usually a little more clever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know though that the episode didn't feel like much, but it was real fun to watch. I love episodes like that. It was just a bunch of fun stuff.
Baby Grogu and Bo-Katan show up. They save the day. They from the design of the cyborg was sick.
Oh yeah.
So the villain of the episode,
the spidery looking thing.
Yeah, and then like it's of course it's like little components where like the head is a separate thing where it like escapes and it gets into and she uses that Darksaber. She knows how to use it.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
And then after she frees Mando and everything, they go to that pool, whatever, the water. They go down there and she explains everything. And she tells him she was the leader. Grandfather or father was the leader, I guess. And I guess the way she looks at everything, and it kind of is almost in a way like most leaders would. And in a way, that's why like there's a lot of correlation between this episode and The Last of Us. Because like he's like, I have to go into the water and I'll be washed in
living waters,
and I'll be able to be accepted back into my tribe, whatever. And she's kind of like, whatever, it's all bullshit, but
you can almost
do for the plebes. And in the episode of The Last of Us, that Father Dave, he's not even religious. He's not even a Christian. We'll get into that later. And he says, like, but they are.
Yeah.
People were. And he used that against them. And she's like, not to say that same tactic, but she's basically like, I know it's all bullshit. We do it for pageantry purposes.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, the people ate it up, it was part of traditions, but we didn't believe in that shit, really, like the water, the what they call it, the mythosaur. You got to see that for a second in this episode. That was so like he goes, I thought he was going to get completely butt naked, but just takes off some of his armor, goes into the water. And you could tell because she went.
Yep.
Her eyes. She was like, ooh, and then she got nothing happened. Yeah. But he goes into the water and he just like gets. I don't know. It's like he gets pulled in or he just missed the step and he falls all the way down to like the bottom of it's like a deep ass pool. It goes down like hundreds of feet. She goes down there to save his ass.
Yeah.
Pulls him out and you see the mythosaur. I guess that's not a good thing, supposedly, or it is a good thing to see that. They talk about that thing.
Yeah. I thought
you don't know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the creature under the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like a Clash of the Titans Kraken or something.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it goes all the way back to like the first season where Quill, Nick Nolte did the voice of it?
Oh yeah,
the guy. He talks about like the Mandalorian that rode the mighty mythosaur.
That was like, the mythosaur.
Yeah, that's what he talks about, and that's the mythosaur.
Okay,
the whole thing is like setting up that Mando will probably be the thing, the guy who rides the mighty mythosaur and unites all the tribes or whatever groups of Mandalorians.
I knew you were talking about that creature. I was just like trying to remember. Did they call it the mythosaur?
Something like that. I could be saying it wrong. But
no, I know what you mean. That makes sense. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Then he gets out of the water and she's like, wake up, and the episode kind of ends there. Like, it's
Yeah.
a little bit of a cliffhanger. I'm sure he'll be fine. But
I thought that was the only thing about the episode that surprised me a little, is that it did seem like a two-parter. You know what I mean? Like most
they
most
did
of
that
these,
when Grogu got kidnapped.
yeah.
First
But
season.
often, I guess I feel like more often they wrap it up, but like this one seemed like a pretty abrupt cliffhanger. Not a cliffhanger, because like, look, Mando was safe. It didn't end on a cliff. But it was like something huge just happened and no one talked about it. Like now next week. Okay, so Mando bathed in the waters. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, technically bathed in the water, so that shit should be done.
Yeah. And Bo-Katan is there. We haven't seen her react to it, because like theoretically she should be like, okay, I guess now we go our separate ways. It was a weird ending, not a bad one, but a weird one.
Yeah. I'm still curious like where the season's gonna go. Like I said, I'm glad that they didn't drag this all out, and that this is not like the 6th episode.
Yeah, I thought they'd still be looking for an IG part.
Yeah, like I'm glad that it's just like, his friend and his friend / whatever she is, acquaintance, Jerry Blank character,
right,
convinces him to take a different robot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it just pushes it quicker. It's like,
yes.
Cool, maybe there's gonna be some other shit. There's gonna be a bigger stories that it gets involved with. It's like, we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Now
it was good.
Conflict with like those pirates or something, and have a conflict with something else, and maybe the Empire shows up in one episode again. Like, I'm just glad that this was not so far.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll be back on Mandalore. I feel like whatever happened there will set up for the final 2 episodes of the season, where something big will happen on Mandalore with like everything going on, and that story will play into it. That monster.
I could see that. Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, the show's great. I love what they're doing with Grogu. I like that he's not this little pathetic thing anymore. Kind of like Ellie in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But I mean, and again, Ellie and Grogu had previous training in the Jedi Temple. He just had to waken up. And Ellie's actually had some training in her
a little bit.
Little ROTC Fedra training,
Jeez. Yeah.
It's just funny though. It's like how these shows are like in a way so fucking similar.
They're real similar. Even the characters' demeanor. Yeah, even the character's demeanor is kind of similar.
Even like when Pedro Pascal's character explains to Ellie about stuff, like the whole cordyceps and everything.
Yeah.
And like Mandalorians teaching Grogu about like navigating space and how and all that. They're just like so funny. Like, I'm like, it's like essentially the same fucking character.
Yeah.
But yeah, like real quick before we start Last of Us, like this was this stuff with Grogu was just great in this episode.
Oh yeah.
I like
a good one.
I do want him to talk. I think like I'm just curious how they're gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he should talk. It's not like it's rare for these creatures to talk.
Yeah, Yoda talked all the time. I'm wondering like if he'll talk like Yoda though, or if he'll like not do that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sure he'll just have like weird little words and chirps this season. I don't think he's gonna have like full dialogue.
Yeah.
Grogu no like. Grogu like. That says things like that. That'd be awful. Grogu likey.
I would say that hopefully they'll incorporate him into speaking in this season. I don't see why they wouldn't. But yeah. I don't know. It's just a real fun episode. They did a great job with it. And this show's
Puberty episode's gonna be fucking weird.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that one.
Well, okay, so Last of Us. This was the next
Grogu have wet dream.
Yeah.
Mando, what that mean?
Right.
Oh God.
Force jizz. Force jizz.
Ew.
Look at the midichlorian count in this. It's like
Grogu is also it's amazing how Grogu's also the word for jizz in
right.
Star Wars, which is weird because you remember jizz bands?
Oh yeah, jizz music. Yeah.
Like come on. Yeah. So real quick for the mono, what are they called? A mono? I don't know.
The
Band.
band.
It's the band from
the Cantina band.
Cantina band.
Yeah.
And Modal Noids or something like that. I think
something like that.
And it's like, I just love that. Like, they're like a jazz band. No, this is not that jazz. This isn't Earth. This is sci-fi. Oh, okay, what are you calling it? Jizz.
Yeah.
It's a jazz band. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one that you sure you couldn't do. Like, I guess you don't want to do Jews because that's
right. Yeah, that's so good.
Jaws.
Too close to Jawas.
Jizz. I mean, well, put a whole other word.
Yeah.
Bukkake band.
Rhythm and semen. So like.
What? Yeah. Okay. So on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. So switching to Last of Us. This is the second to the last episode.
Yep.
I feel like they really nailed the pacing of this first season. Everything seems to have clicked and moved forward the best they could. There's a pretty complex story, and I think they did a great job in pacing it. I thought the next to the last episode was really good.
Only thing I would say that I could see people complaining, and I think it's a legitimate complaint.
Yep.
For a show that's like a zombie show, is you don't. It's like, so we're 8 episodes in, and let's see. The first one essentially there you see the zombies, but not really.
Yep.
So the second episode, there's like one in the third. I'm trying to think I don't even remember what the fourth episode was about.
Yeah.
I mean, there's and then the one with Kathleen when they all get attacked. Well, it's like half the show. Like, you're lucky if any of these things show up.
Right. But each of the episodes clearly advanced the story of like Ellie and Joel. Yeah,
I mean, that's great. I'm not complaining. I just think I could see how that is a legitimate complaint. Is that like there's not that many, you don't really see the clickers that much. And I mean, I guess the cool thing though is when you do see them, it is scary as shit. And then maybe that is a good thing. I mean, obviously they were in the last episode because she got bit by one.
Right.
There was a couple there.
But it was just one creature and you only saw it for a minute total,
Yeah. But I mean that episode when the whole city was completely overrun by them and everyone was killed in the end. Like, that was super fucked up. I mean, like
that was crazy.
Fucked up episode. So I mean, I guess you could. I'm sure. I have a feeling next episode is gonna have like tons of them. It's just like kind of funny because like I was sort of clips of the game, and that character, Father Dave, whatever his name is,
something like that,
is in the game.
Oh, and I
guess that's in the game. In that point of the game, that's when you are Ellie. I guess you're not Ellie normally in the game, but in those scenes,
sure,
play as Ellie and you work with that guy. I don't know if he gets all like rapey like he does in the end.
Yeah.
It is okay, so it's like a fucked up episode. So where we left off, they went to was it Wyoming?
Near Jackson Hole.
Yeah,
right?
And that's when they stayed with the communists. And I like them when the lady what's his Joel's brother's wife, I guess.
Yeah.
This tells Ellie about like trusting people and stuff like that. I felt like it was like a good a good foreshadowing to like meeting people like Pastor Dave and shit like that.
True. Yeah.
So Joel they end up in a town where they thought they were going to meet some fireflies, I guess, and they weren't there.
Right.
They run into these scavenger guys, and which is you find out is connected to the group that Pastor Dave's from. And I guess they killed this kid's the kid's father.
Yeah.
And I think we joked about them potentially being cannibals.
Wow.
And you were saying like they were, and I'm like, did you know they were cannibals? Did you know anything about the game or something?
I did. I followed the game. I never played it, but I know the basic plot, and I know some of the plot of the next one.
I don't want to hear it now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
So,
be completely surprised.
but my
So you knew they were cannibals.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
and they and the
I was
show,
like, how the fuck did he know they were cannibals? I'm like, oh, he must have followed the game or watched it or something.
yeah. Plus, I mean, like, look, even if I didn't, and I did because I read a lot about the game.
Yeah.
This is they made a big deal about them being hungry. There's no food.
Yeah, and then
All of a sudden, they
like,
have
well, they're like, your dad's dead. Can we have a burial? No. And he slaps
right.
them all. And then all of a sudden, when it's time to eat, there's a guy with like a bucket with like cut up meat.
Yeah.
And then like they're like, is that deer? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. And it
And
wasn't. I was like, what was that deer like? 3 pounds? I mean, how big was that deer? Because that's like a handful
that, like, then they show up with an actual deer because they got Ellie hunted a deer, and I guess
yeah.
what deal they made was like they would give her drugs, and then I don't know, she ended up running away or something at that point.
Yeah. But you could even see like they made the big deal when people were eating, like the people in charge were like a little hesitant to eat it. Everyone else ate it kind of like greedily. I mean, it should be, as an audience member, it should have been clear what was going on.
Oh yeah, especially with, like you said, like the lack of food and the fact that they don't bury the dead because
right.
Becoming part of the food supply. I mean, you made a comment saying like you're surprised like that everything's not like just overrun with deer.
Yeah. I would have thought like, I mean, maybe the infected or whatever the people the clickers would harm deer, but the deer population should have exploded. You should have seen like a ton of like out of control wildlife, like you saw with the monkeys, in the episode before last. But there's apparently no food around either, which was, I thought, kind of weird.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that like, obviously you're gonna run out of canned food at some point and stuff like 20-year-old cans and shit, which I still find amazing. I'm like, would cans hold that long?
I don't know, man. But they say they always say that like the deer population is way out of control anyway, like even with people hunting them.
Yeah.
So I would have just figured that like
the only thing I can think is maybe there's a limited amount. It's just that they're overhunted because of the food supply. It's like, be. What are you gonna eat? You gotta rely, you're not going to Whole Foods anymore.
Right. Yeah.
The AMP or whatever. The Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly.
You're not going there anymore. So it's like if you don't have like access to things or a farm or whatever, you're hunting and point, things are gonna get overhunted, even though obviously the human population I'm sure has dropped a lot too. Because I'm curious, like they never really stated how many people were lost. You know what I mean? Like the percentage.
Yeah, true.
I'm curious, like what is it like over half were like turned? I would imagine in this world, half of them had to become clickers easily.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like we don't see that many people,
So they capture. I guess she's captured. Is she captured? Yeah, they imprison her, right?
Well, yeah, because she goes and like parlays with them, then she's back, and then she tries to lead them away from Joel on horseback, and someone shoots and kills her horse.
Yeah,
she flies off her horse, is unconscious. She wakes up in a jail cell.
I watched the making of it, and they show her on like a dummy horse.
Oh, geez,
it's like really funny. I wonder if they did purposely made sure you saw that in the behind the scene thing, so that no one watching it is like thinks,
right?
They really shoot a horse. Yeah, they really. Yeah, it's the 20s. They really shot a horse. They have like horses run off cliffs and videotape it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Joel's kind of like incapacitated the whole time. She gets the medicine, gives it to him. I love that she doesn't even really have a clue where to give it. She's like, I'll just put it in his wound.
Yeah.
He was like completely out of it. So it's mostly focused on her. That's like the joke being like, Mandalorian. It's like he's incapacitated from that robot. So Grogu's got to like kind of solve his own problems and get help and get out of there. And same thing with her. She has to like, it just gets so fucked up. Like he's such a creep, this guy. Like you could
Oh
tell.
yeah.
Well, obviously he seems like a really nice guy. He seems kind of warm, fatherly type person. But of course, there's something up.
Yep.
And he said, yeah, he starts kind of creeping on her early. But like, dude, like when she's the one that like lights the place on fire, right?
Yes, she throws a stake, like I guess some wooden stakes had been in a fire.
Yeah.
And she grabs one thinking she's gonna stab him, but she doesn't. She throws it and it catches the building on fire. I don't know if like we could say that she intended for that to happen, but she did it and she saw it happen, and that's that. So
But like he's trying to like, this is like where the episode gets super fucked up. He's trying to rape her, like
oh yeah.
in the fire, and he's just like, oh, like, and I'm like, man, this is fucked up. And then she ends up like being able to like, she stabs him, I guess, or something, and pummels him, and blood everywhere, and she's screaming. And it was like, wow, this is like kind of a fucked up episode. I mean, it's dark. It's a dark episode, like, it's like not. And it's also a great moment because, like, while that's all going on, like Joel's starting to get his health back, and he wants to save her, but he's not the one that saves her in this episode. Like she kind of just saves herself,
right?
But she pretty much saves herself.
Yeah, I think she did everything. I think Joel only really, I guess you could say Joel like stopped the gang members from returning.
He killed some of the people and got there. But when he like hugs her and calls her like baby girl and stuff,
that's great. Yeah,
it's like what he called his daughter, I guess, in the first.
Yeah, I didn't remember that, but I saw people saying that on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it's the first one. So yeah, I mean, it's a great episode, and I think, and like I said, it's fucked up.
For sure.
I don't think there's any clickers in this one at all. I have a feeling, and I have a feeling though, and I know you say pretty much know the plot, but you could spoil one thing. Joseph, are there clickers in the next episode of The Last of Us?
I don't. If I'm like thinking of the sketch of the plot, that's not like the crux of the conflict in the last.
Okay, then you can't see the yes or no.
Well, look, they could carry out the plot without there being clickers. I'll put it that way. I mean, there probably will be, I think, just because like they're cool looking and they have the costumes left over, I'm sure. But no, they could finish the story. They could finish the story without any clickers or anything like that, and it would still have the same conflict that the game did.
Let them. Do you think it's going to end on a like? Is this pretty much the first game? In its entirety, or is it only like the first half of the game?
No, if they end it the way it should end, and this will be the game, the first game, and honestly, it could end on. No, I'm just saying it could end as a satisfying one season show. They're already doing season. We know they're doing season 2. We know they made a second video game, but it could end with you saying, "Oh, that is a complete story." I'm so glad they made this.
It's like the most watched show, I think, next to I'm trying to think of like a show that no one watched on HBO. Carnival.
Yeah.
I love Carnival.
That was great, but it was a little obscure. It could end and that would have been, I guess it could have an ending like the Watchmen reboot did.
Yeah, that kind of sucked because the Watchmen had like a nice satisfying ending with like a little bit of a cliffhanger, but not too much that, and I don't think we're ever getting another.
No, it wasn't even it wasn't even a cliffhanger per se. It was like an ending that opened up more potential storylines. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it didn't. I mean, of course, all these worlds could continue to have stories. I thought
maybe they look at the Watchmen like if they have a good one to tell, maybe they'll do it.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
a great one. I feel like that did not get the appreciation that it deserved.
It was thinky. It was.
But it was such a good, like, if you compare it to like the Zack Snyder bullshit movie, and you watch the show and everything. It is truly like, even though it is its own thing, it is the most truest adaptation.
Yes, it was definitely in the spirit of the graphic novel.
I guess the interesting thing, I know we're not talking about Last of Us Mandalorian now, we're talking about watching, but real quick, is that I guess, you know, if you read the original comics and the graphic novel, the collection, there's all this supplemental material. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't read that shit. I just read the story. I was like, I'm not reading this. I'm like,
I read it. You're right. At the end of every book,
it would have like 5-6 pages of like articles and.
Yep, it would be like the psychiatrist case files from when he treated Rorschach.
Yep.
It would be like articles about, yeah, I mean, you're right. It would be like a Dr. Manhattan medical file. Like,
he took a lot of those ideas from that, put it in that show, from not from the actual comics, but from the material. Like, I think when it came to the you know, Ed Lou Gossett Jr.'s character was revealed to be that character that this white circus performer, and this black dude actually the whole time. Supposedly there was interlude of that in the supplemental material. So back to The Last of Us. Well, that was a dark episode, really good. It was. You know, like Ellie's like in a state of shock because it's kind of funny like how Joel kind of just like comes her up the back, which is kind of stupid, and she like turns around, just freaking out. She's like, well, she's a good actress. I think her character, you know, she's kind of like a little shit in the first episode or two, and you're just like, but she's kind of like definitely come along, kind of like how Grogu is just like a wholesome little shit, you know, just like.
Well, I would say it was weird. Like, I think my favorite thing about the show has been that each episode, Pedro Pascal's character and her character have gotten closer in a genuine way. It felt earned and paced well and stuff. But like, she's always been like this kid, this kind of smart aleck kid. She's taken risks. You know, she's kind of been a risk taker, and this is the first time I've seen her in the show where she acts like an appropriately terrified young kid. You know what I mean? Like, or young woman.
It's a dark, like I said, it's a dark episode.
But it's really good, and I'm looking forward to the episode next week, and also the next series. I mean, they're going to do a season 2.
Well, that's why I said the thing with the Pastor Dave talking about like how he's he was not religious before the so the opportunity that the people needed, they needed somebody like he was religious because they needed someone like that, right? Like you could just say like, so you're just an opportunist.
Well, before it seemed like he was saying, like initially when he was saying that, it seemed to me like it was so hard to tell, like, because like right when you saw him, you're like, okay, this is a bad guy. But then you're like, is he a bad guy like Negan, or is he a bad guy like the governor? You know, to like pull those tropes out. Like, is he chaotic evil, or is he lawful evil? What is he? You know? And as it turns out, he's a fucking psycho. He like thinks the cordyceps are like a great idea, and he's
he gives a whole thing about cordyceps were love or some shit.
Yeah, and he's like, well,
he's saying like it brings out cordyceps, bring out the truth or something.
Yeah, well, he's like he's basically saying they're like evolutionarily perfect, and at that point you're like, oh no, he's crazy. He's like, he's not only evil, he's like crazy evil.
Yeah,
you know, I mean.
They were saying that like there's like a lot of like he's Satan basically in the episode. Like
I could
like a Satan figure.
I could see that.
Pastor Dave, I guess, is another word for Satan or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, I was like watching something.
Well, yeah, it was really good. I'm surprised. A lot of people are talking about how they were surprised and everything, but like,
I mean, it's an HBO show.
Yeah, it just seems like this is like, well, of course there would be some weirdo religious cannibal cult during this time.
I mean, if you watched so far in the show, we've gotten multiple iterations of like what towns could be. So
Yeah.
the Q zone or whatever they called it.
Yep. Yeah. The quarantine zone.
First and second episode.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go out to the world and you get your like, your fucking libertarian anarchist city with Kathleen. And then you get your communist society with Joel's brother and his wife. And then you get this weird like religious cult, cannibal cult society. They're gonna run to all kinds of groups.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, there's really no government, like there's government controlled areas, but they don't have control of the entire country, or whatever. It's completely like lawless in a lot of ways, So you're gonna run into all kinds of like, if there's any surviving groups. This is interesting that this was a group that like, the winter was like really cold and they don't have anything. So they were maybe like, I guess, were they always cannibals, or I guess they resorted to cannibal? It's not like they started out as cannibals. It was more like there's no food.
No, that's like he even says like, look, I'm ashamed of this, but like we got to do what we got to do. And that's kind of when he starts launching into the cordyceps being like impressive, like they do shit like this all the time to help themselves out. Like and they're thriving.
And the guy is like he's cordyceps curious.
Yeah, right.
Well, he's like one of those people that like hyper focuses on like, like trans people, and then you find out his whole like hard drives filled with like
it's crazy
porn. Probably like someone like Michael Knowles or or what's that other guy's name? The other guy from Daily Wire. Got the beard. Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
Another creep. Yeah, it's just another one of these weird creeps.
Yeah.
I obviously that was a perfect segue.
It was, yeah.
Perfect. So, like literally, I got on a segue.
No, right. Like Job. Like from
like Gob.
Yeah, Gob. All right. Gob. So the transition there is into CPAC. CPAC is a big kind of yearly conservative.
This is a real world thing, not a
I'm sorry.
This not part of, like it is a little. You would think it was a joke, like it's not real, because if you watched any of this stuff, you'd be like,
right,
come on now.
Well, it's like a convention. It's like a bunch of speakers and events
every year. I feel like they've tried. It used to be once a year, but I feel like with like whatever Griff popularity thing, they've been doing a bunch a year. But this is the main one is around this time, and I think it's in DC.
Okay.
And they have one every year at CPAC convention, and it just gets more insane every year.
Yeah.
I mean, like they always get to like a lot of news, but man, this year, hardly anyone there.
Yeah,
I really don't know why. I'm confused. What happened?
Well, it is twofold. Matt Schlapp did get
who's Matt Schlapp?
He is the leader of CPAC, and he's also the leader of some other organization. Does he do Turning Point's memo?
No, that's Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I meant like, but did he own it? But you're right. It is.
Who the fuck
anyway, he was credibly accused by someone of grabbing a
Christian Walker campaign.
Yeah.
Not Christian Walker, Herschel Walker campaign. Christian Walker was
right. But and the
male staffer was
the guy just came out today, came out and identified himself and everything.
The guy who he assaulted?
Yeah, the guy who got grabbed. So
the grabby.
Right. But then you had that, which kind of diminished attendance, and then also a lot of people are kind of torn up in the air about Trump, and that really put a dent in their attendance
because
too.
Trump was there. Oh, it's interesting. There was a lot of empty seats the whole time. The best, there was a great clip of Kimberly Guilfoyle talking, and
nice.
Then C-SPAN cameras moved, and people were making jokes like C-SPAN knows what's up.
Right.
And, moving the camera, showing there's just tons of empty seats. And then Trump shows up, and it's crazy. All the seats are filled up. Yeah. And then you find out, why is that? Oh, because they paid people $7 to $10 an hour to be a seat filler during Trump's speech so that it would look like it was packed.
And even then, it did not look like it was packed. did
No.
not look CPAC'd.
Well, he is incredibly cheap, so probably
Yeah.
only pay for like 50 people or whatever.
It was weird. You're right. This is supposed to be this big kind of triumphant event, and it seemed like it was kind of like, I don't know, half-assed or something. Yeah.
Well, this was probably like they thought it was going to be the craziest year because they could be like, look, we won the House. We had the Senate, maybe, this, and that's like, yeah, okay, they won the House by like 5 seats. Like,
right. Yeah, by very little.
A barrel, it's nothing to really brag about. And then like they don't have the Senate.
Nope.
They don't have the majority of the Senate.
No.
And they don't have the presidency.
No.
They lost a lot of state houses flipped blue this year, like in 2022. And the momentum really, I mean, there's still a threat. There's still a threat, especially with like electoral college and just any type of shenanigans that they do. But the momentum's not with them. But I really think like 90% of this just because Matt Schlapp grabbed the junk of a male staffer.
Right. Well, this is impressive.
And I guarantee you that it's like, what did you say? If a politician get a Republican, specifically Republican politician, the only time you'll ever see him resign or anything, face any consequences, is if they're caught with a live boy, or live boy, which sounds whatever.
Live boy or dead girl.
Or dead girl.
Yeah.
Matt Schlapp caught cranking a live boy.
Yeah. Plus his last name
and he didn't like it. He complained. He was like, the whole story is he like was just giving him a ride home or whatever. And he started like fondling him or some shit. And he didn't come back to pick him up the next day. He like called him up and he's like, dude, what the fuck, man? So I am curious. Yeah, it's like, is it that no one likes right-wing stuff anymore, or is it because the excessive Matt Schlapp groin check?
I think it's a combination. I think some of it's that people are afraid of getting dick slapped, but there's probably an equal number of people that are like, you know what, I'm not. They're not on board with Trump. That maybe their preferred candidate isn't showing up. They're kind of done with the circus. I mean, like, I don't think this is like
DeSantis wasn't there.
DeSantis
wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know.
Well, then they have their the best is they have this like Groyper convention that always coincides with CPAC and Nick Fuentes guy. They're like Nazis, and it's great that like there's a hotel nearby that gave them space, and it's just like, you guys don't have to. You can deny them.
Right? Yeah. What a disappointing group.
Okay, so one of the reasons why we're talking about it, well, besides the fact that it's like ridiculous and like all these, it's like a who's who of scumbags, and
it is, yeah.
And one of them, the speeches given was from the 5th most popular Daily Wire host, Michael Knowles. Do you know who this guy is?
I did not until recently, until I saw him. He looks plastic, like he's made out of plastic, and he looks a lot like. Did you ever, when your kid was little, did he ever watch Lazy Town?
Yeah. Yeah,
he looks like one of the residents of Lazy Town.
Yeah, or like what's the bad guy's name?
Well, Sporticus was a good guy. Oh, Robbie Rotten.
Yeah. Lazy Town. He does look like a Lazy Town character. He's another failed actor. You can look it up. His demo reel is up, just like, and it's all bad acting and stuff. All these guys are bad actors. He was on like Fox for a little bit, and I guess he got kicked off because he would say all kinds of insane shit.
Okay,
really too like it's like what was the joke? We talked about this recently, where like someone went like full racist. The Mike Adams Scott, the Dilbert guy. Yeah,
Scott Adams is the Dilbert guy. Yeah,
Scott Adams. He said something that was just like, it's like, dude, you're supposed to do dog whistles. You went too far. And I think Michael Knowles, he's just another right wing asshole pushes like trad shit, and he goes on stage and tells this like horrible, like basically calling for the eradication of transgender.
Yeah. His
Like,
excuse was that he called for the eradication of transgenderism, not transgender people, which is like a difference without a distinction, you know?
It's like saying like we're going to eradicate Judaism.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. It's like,
okay, I feel better now. Thanks. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, buddy. It's just funny. He's like threatening to like sue. I guess like the Rolling Stone and what was it? Daily Beast, literally just in the headlines, repeated exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't say that. I'm gonna sue for libel. And then that fucking like Daily Beast like fucking changed their headline and shit. I'm like, why are you fucking like
Rolling Stone did too, I think.
What?
Yeah. Rolling Stone did too. And
yeah, I think Rolling Stone might have retracted that though. I think they came back with something even like attacking him, but like but it was like, why even like kowtow to him? Fuck him. You know,
it's like, like CPAC was kind of a nothing event this year, and this Michael Knowles was like a nothing person at a nothing event. Like, why?
He got the most fucking attention because he said the most like insane shit, basically calling for the extermination of a group of people. I don't know where we ever heard that before in history. And then the guy has, of course, the nerve to like get all upset and be like, "How dare you call me out for the things I said?"
Yeah,
it's like, dude, it's such like, again, it's like that gaslighting shit, you know. These guys never own up to their shit. It's like they literally say it and then they're like, I didn't say it. And you're like,
they have a blind spot. They can't even see it.
No, because they know that their audience will back them. And all they have to say to their audience is the left, the commies, the gays, liberal, whatever they want to say. They're trying to take away my free speech. You got to help me get my free speech. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to like, and his audience be like, you know, they don't have to like, none of his audience members can be like, well, Michael, you did say that.
Right.
I mean, like, I agree with you 100%, but can we like at least not pretend that you didn't say it? Like, you know, none of them are doing that. None of them are well, not like a clear thinking chud that's like, well, Michael, actually, you did say that. I agree with you 100%, but you know, at least own up to it.
Good luck.
If anything, I'm disappointed that you won't own up to it.
Well, I am. That also adds up. It's like,
So I mean, like, this guy sucks. He's just another fascist. Obviously he got the attention that he want. But I saw some other clips of him recently, and he's not. And then this guy's like bitching about like getting in trouble, not getting in trouble, but being called out for literally saying things he said. But then he's still double downing. He still believes in everything. He's not like backpedaling or trying to like be like, well, I actually didn't mean that. I don't want anyone to die. And I'm not trying to, you know, he didn't do any of that. It's like he's gonna keep saying the thing he said, and they get mad that you're calling him out, and then still say the thing he said.
Oh, geez. Let
me see if I can find. I had a funny tweet about that, but like, I posted that picture of him. He looks like such a creep.
He does look like the Joker. You had done the Devil in the Pale Moonlight.
The Devil Pale. He's like, he just looks like someone made a joke said like he looks like he like huffed Smilex gas for like. Yeah. Did you ever dance with the devil? Yeah, that's it. I said the Daily Beast and Rolling Stone are fascist apologist cowards.
Well,
and then I guess it said the Rolling Stone changed their headline again, though, and it's arguably better than the original. They changed it to CPAC speaker calls for eradication of transgenderism and somehow claims he's not calling for the elimination of transgender people. So that's so baffling. I'm like, listen, I'm not attacking the reporters. I'm attacking like the companies for like just kowtowing to this. Like, who gives a shit what the guy from the Daily Wire thinks? Fuck him. Like,
it is weird.
He's not even a fucking politician. He's the fucking fourth or fifth host on a fucking fringe right-wing internet network.
Like, a lot of them are like that too.
Like, why do these guys wield so much fucking power? Speaking of another fucking asshole, this Shire Rishik, whatever her name is, lives
Sure,
a
yeah.
TikTok lady. This is a woman who, like, for months was complaining about how people are like trying to like dox her and how dare they leave her, her privacy. But then it's like she's still doing that, and she's making all kinds of appearances, showing up with her name. That it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you've already like made yourself very clear who you are, like, and you're getting mad. But she posted like let me see if I can find this.
Yeah.
So she's that lives a TikTok person who like just posts like she was famous for like her first. It was like just like look at these wacky liberals and like.
Well, but she would like pick a random user with like 1,200 followers and like bring the wrath of the internet down on them,
Yeah, well, she would have these people get arrested. I mean, she and like people like Matt Walsh are responsible for like Boston Children's Hospital having bomb threats sent to them.
Yeah. You're talking about the Boston Hospital one, right?
The Children's Hospital,
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah.
Like, she's like pretty much responsible for that. Like,
It definitely amplified it for sure.
She gives like basically call to actions. She's like the head person who like tells people to go to like someone's house,
Yep.
or if there's like a drag show or something like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like the Proud Boys are there harassing everyone. She's the one who like kind of amplifies that and makes sure they know that there's something going on.
Yeah.
She's a fucking terrible person. I'm trying to find this thing. I'm like, what the fuck is it?
What thing?
The thing about her claiming that the ADL was like attacking her. Where the fuck is it? Hold on.
Well, they all have martyr complexes.
Well, yeah. I'm like, wait. One sec.
Yeah.
How am I oh here, hold on. One second. You could any other fun stuff that you like from CPAC?
From CPAC? It's just I remember if CPAC, I remember this is where they had the golden statue of Trump. Remember that?
Yeah,
he was wearing like red.
God, that thing.
It was just so comically like okay, it was stupid all the way around. It's like they bought this old Frisch's Big Boy and they painted it to look like Donald Trump, and then they painted it to be gold, and the whole thing was ridiculous. But like they're all such religious zealots, and this is clearly like building a golden calf or something and worshiping it. I mean, it's just like a really good kind of encapsulation of all this shit that's just crazy or wrong about CPAC.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it was nice to see it so lightly attended this year. That was pretty funny.
So she writes the ADL, which is the Anti-Defamation League, whose stated goal is to stop the defamation of Jewish people, use a photo of me, a Jew, to bully anyone that disagree with them. They are also saying me Jew by calling me an anti-LGBT Q extremist. The ADL is a complete joke, and I'm like, okay. I wrote, just because you're Jewish doesn't give you cover for being a bigot, and why do so many Nazis prop you up? You're a Jewish person refuses to condemn Nazis. You should be ashamed of yourself.
All true. Yeah.
And this one for Cody Johnson wrote, you're proudly anti-LGBT, though, right? You call them cockroaches on television. What is the defamatory statement? What is the defamatory statement? And it's crazy because it's like, I don't know, why would the Anti-Defamation League call this woman out? I don't know. There might be like a history connection between the death, the persecution and murder and death of LGBT people in Nazi Germany, in early days of Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And and also like the whole thing is, and this is why I don't trust anyone that claims they're like they believe in the rights of like, we're persecuted people, but then they start attacking other people. I'm like, there's something not kosher about that. Like, you have to be able to recognize like you have to defend everyone. Like if you're calling for like the like, hey, we have a problem with anti-Semitism. Well, usually if there's a problem with anti-Semitism, there's probably a really good chance there's like anti-LGBT problem too. You can't like you can't.
Those things rarely happen in a vacuum.
See, like one of the most disgusting things that's why another reason why I don't like Dave Chappelle is he does this thing where he tries to act like he's this like black activist guy. Like he's like, oh, look at this. They're attacking like he tries to make it like one that there's no black LGBT people. It's hysterical that he uses that while attacking LGBT people. Yeah. And it's like or like it's something like a TERF. A TERF does that where they claim they're for women's rights and they attack trans people. Yeah. And the joke is they just hate trans people. They don't really care about women's rights.
I know we've talked about this before, but I'm still so baffled as to how the gay rights community made so much progress and then like lost it all overnight. You know what I mean?
Well, I know I'm oversimplifying. I mean, they gave the right to marry thanks to like that case in the Supreme Court making it federal. I
just meant in public opinion. Like it seemed like in the 90s or late 90s, we were on the cusp of this being a done issue. Like
Bush came along and in 2004 used it as a attacked LGBT people, making a whole thing about anti-gay marriage. So he could get reelected. So everyone would forget there was this thing called the Iraq War. That kind of like, it's interesting. It's like it hurt gay people, but at the same way, it also like accelerated support for gay people on a national. And it people realize like, wait, I have like a brother, or I have a cousin, or my dad, my uncle, my mom, my aunt, me, my sister, any of them. It's like they realized like, holy shit, like and I think you saw that starting to become accepted. And I think it's like the joke about George W. Bush being almost like he deserves no thanks whatsoever. Right. At all. Like the guy sucks and the Bush administration sucks for like using gay people as a way to get reelected.
So crazy, yeah.
But in a way, it kind of just like made things more warp speed. The trans thing is a different story because that was the thing. I was watching something with Michael Knowles after this, where he's talking about, he's claiming that like trans people basically never existed until 2015.
Oh Lord.
They never were an issue until 2015. Trans people never existed throughout humanity ever. Like there's never been like a third sex, or if you've done no research or studying or know anything about history of the world. No, he's right. 2015. They just came out of the ground like a potato. Like
fully formed.
What?
Fully formed.
Yeah, they were like, and I mean, the thing is, it started with that bathroom bill that guy in North Carolina, was it North Carolina?
Yep, I think so.
That asshole tried pushing through it. Really, it started there, and they were able to like get people on board to attack trans people using guys like Joe Rogan to say like, hey, look, this dude's pretending to be a lady so he could win in sports. All of a sudden, you had all these meatheads claiming female sports. That's funny. And that's that's a way to get people on your side. And then once you get them, then you could really start hitting them over the head with just straight up bigotry. And it's not even about female sports at all anymore. All of a sudden you're attacking children and you're defaming people. Like I saw that fucking one guy. I sent you that anti-wokeness. What is it called? Like some fucking creep. This let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I sent that to you.
It would cover a lot of things.
It's a literal Nazi account. Like it is. It's like a straight up Nazi account.
It's hard to see how any of these would stand up to scrutiny.
End of wokeness is what he's called. And he's posting this image attacking this man. He's like, this father transitioned his son into a girl at 3 years old. My daughter will never go through male puberty or something like that. And he's trying, and like, dude, why do you leave this guy fucking alone? Clearly, they knew what was up. They forced this kid to become a girl.
Yeah.
The kid clearly identified as a woman, even at that age,
Sure.
little girl, whatever you want to call it, gender norms. It's like the people, I guess, like Target decided, like, we're going to take girls off of the doll section and we're going to take boys off. We're just going to take the signs off. And some people like lost their shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not like they started mixing brat dolls with like Star Wars or something. You know what I mean? It was like still in clear sections. It was just like, yeah, we're not going to say girls on top anymore. It's literally just going to be like whatever. And
preference.
Of course, right wing got lost their shit. And I wrote it like, you have no idea what they're going through. You're just a creep looking behind from a light pole down the street, foaming at the mouth. Get a life.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Like you don't know what this family's going through.
No.
Why do you mind your own fucking business?
That's really hard for some people.
But this is like a huge account and wokeness. I mean, it's got over 800,000 followers on Twitter, and he uses like that. So I mean, it looks like a straight up like Nazi account, but it's like Bojack with that. You ever seen that? That guy. So I mean, that's what this lady too is. Shire, whatever, lives at TikTok, and she was at fucking January.
Chandra Levy.
Yes, Chandra Levy.
I know it's not the same person.
What?
I know it's not the same person.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I feel like when you said like LGBT people are losing their rights, or you just think like,
no, I meant losing ground. Like it
I think that was the goal, though. They started with trans people, and now you noticed it you noticed it mostly last year when all of a sudden they started attacking just gay people in general.
I'm still surprised. I mean, I saw it happen. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Can't adopt, making sure, like doing all kinds of crazy laws and stuff in certain states. Yeah. And that's what I knew too. I'm like, you get these like right-wing gay people, like they would get like Milo or whatever, and he would attack trans people. And it's like, okay, this is bullshit. So, because of course they're going to go after you next. Yeah. If they're going after them, they're going to go after this group next. It's like, that's why like, they're not going to stop at just trans people. Like,
no.
Job's done. We're happy. We just thought that was a little too weird. No, that's not it. They're going to go after the other group next and the other group next.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got next?
Well, have we
what
if this kind of goes into the Tucker Carlson stuff? It's not exactly the Fox News story.
Well, what is the Fox News story? I mean, it's Tucker Carlson, right?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to it. The one part is Dominion suing Fox News for all this stuff, which is kind of a thing that's ongoing. And the other thing is Tucker Carlson getting all the January 6th tapes.
So Kevin McCarthy made a big deal saying, like, Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, guy took 16 times to win his election.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was pathetic. And he announced that he was going to basically he got all the footage, he's got all the real footage.
Yep.
And he was like, I'm going to give it to Tucker Carlson.
Well, he first said,
why would you just give it to Tucker Carlson?
He said first, the American people deserve to see it. I'm going to release it to the public. And then he gave it all to Tucker and said, well, Tucker gets to decide what you see. And that was like the first thing that really pissed off Democrats, really, but people in general too. Yeah. Because go ahead. What? Tucker Carlson has only released like not much, and it doesn't really show much.
Like it's the same thing as like the Twitter. I said it's like the same energy as the Twitter files thing. That shit might take the Elon Musk thing. It really doesn't expose anything. So you like showed us one video of like a cop walking with the QAnon shaman or whatever.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was it. Yep.
This is kind of like the same thing of like. Again, I don't think it matters if he shows anything new or not. The whole point is just deny any of the damage that was caused by degeneracies. It's like the same thing with Michael Knowles or that lives a TikTok lady getting like, how dare you call me out for the thing I do all the time. You know,
Right.
like it's the same thing, you know, like Tucker Carlson could show literally the same footage we've seen 1,000 times, just edit it so that we don't see like, you know, cop getting hit with like a fucking flagpole or
Right.
like
Yeah.
fingers chopped off or whatever, or you know, glass being broken and everything. He just has to show like people walking in nicely and like they're just there to like express their views. Like,
Yeah.
just insane that like there's all this footage out there. It's there to be seen of all the violence, all the chaos, and he can just go on his show and just cherry pick shit and say like, no, none of that happened. None of that. It's like saying like 9/11 didn't happen. Not like, I don't mean like the conspiracy of 9/11 being like whatever you want to believe. I mean like literally saying 9/11 didn't happen. Like, what do you mean? There was no buildings. They never fell. You know what I mean? Like, like that's kind of like almost what it's like he's trying to do this. It's like he's trying to make it sound like there was no January 6th. It was just a bunch of people who came there. They were very peaceful.
Sure.
Innocent people. And you're like, what are you talking about? The Capitol was like, there's like that image when everyone climbing in, like smoke bombs and like fire. And you're like, what? Like that fucking bitch from Fresno, that real estate lady, literally smiling in front of broken glass. Like, that lady from Fresno, Texas. Like, there.
Oh, Frisco. Yeah.
Frisco. Sorry, Frisco. Yeah. She's standing in front of a broken window at the Capitol, like smiling. Like, fuck these people. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's like, but it's interesting. He's doing like a tightrope dance where it's like, how do I push this bullshit, but also try to avoid saying that Trump won?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole Dominion lawsuit, right? Is that like if Fox comes outright just says Trump won the 2020 election, you're basically pushing that lie still, which strengthens Dominion's, you know, winning that case and getting, you know, God knows what they sued him for.
Jeez. I thought it was like a whole bunch. I thought it was like 1.5 billion. Are you talking about like the dollar amount? Is that what you're asking? Or
well,
do you
it's
mean
an
like
insane amount. I mean, but they're like skirting that line of like, what can we get away with? Like, we'll just deny how January 6th was, but we won't outright say that Trump. And then there was footage supposedly that came out that shows that Tucker Carlson hates Trump.
Yeah, he was caught on audio saying that. I could see that. Actually makes a lot of sense to me. You know, like that he would secretly hate Trump. You know,
there was a great video, the Majority Report. I was listening today. They played a clip of this from years ago where Tucker Carlson says like this very revealing thing about who was the guy? Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
He calls out Bill O'Reilly for being this fake, where he says that like Bill O'Reilly's whole existence was to tell you he's like the everyman. And you have to keep this like facade up, even though he's like this millionaire who has this show. He's very powerful. And then he gets caught on like an airplane, like telling someone to get him his caviar or whatever. The jig is up. The it's gone. And it's just funny because you watch that clip of him and he seems like this like honest, genuine person. This is like a decade ago, I think.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
5 years ago. And it's like, dude, where's that guy go? I'm not to say this guy always sucked. He was a pro-Iraq war person. He's a racist asshole. He's a piece of shit. But I remember watching that clip and I was like, wow, he's actually like being somewhat genuine.
Right.
Hitting on Bill O'Reilly. But I guess he got Bill O'Reilly's spot. But like, what are these tapes supposed to prove?
What do you mean? The tapes?
The tapes that Ken McCarthy gave him. Like, what are they?
Well, they're supposed to, I guess they're supposed to prove a whole bunch of things. One of them being that like it wasn't as violent as they said. A second one being that the cops really showed them in. A third being that like you can see FBI informants amongst them or Antifa agitators. The whole thing is
Antifa agitators there.
The whole thing kind of baffles me because like I can't think of a single Democrat that would care if you threw an Antifa protester in jail if that Antifa member was really doing something like that. You know, like I mean,
no.
And I mean, I don't like
see the difference between one, there's no group called Antifa, like no like organized group. You can say that the Proud Boys worked with Republicans. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But they worked hand in hand with them.
the other thing I think would be like, I think they want the tapes to show that like the cops were in on it too, but
Well, it's
like
like, wait, so
nobody
we already
cares.
know?
Then you would throw the cops in prison too. None of that makes
And the thing
January
is, like,
6th okay.
wait, you're telling me there's pro-Trump cops? I'm shocked. I can't believe that.
Right? I mean,
Like,
like the point, if a cop helped the Proud Boys into the Capitol when they shouldn't have been in there, that doesn't mean it's not a Proud Boys problem. It means it's a problem. It's a multifaceted problem. It's a problem with the Proud Boys. That nothing changed that what they did was wrong.
some of the cops let these people in too because they didn't want to get killed.
Yeah. And it's hard to say, like, if a guy is like banging around outside, maybe you open it up and say, hey, come on in here, what are you doing? You know, like there's a whole bunch of shit that could have happened. Anyway, this tape thing is kind of like blowing up in their face because it hasn't shown anything, you know.
It's like, what is it, like
Geraldo's a vault. Yeah,
Al Capone. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna tweet that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's like there's nothing there, and it's a little surprising because, like, look, I hate Tucker Carlson and his shtick, but he's usually pretty good at it. I mean, you would have thought he could find some video and make a story. I don't know. You would have thought he'd be able to exploit this better, but he's not been able to. Yeah, it's baffling and depressing. So
yeah, I'm doing. Oh wow, Capone's.
Yeah. Oh.
Said Tucker Carlson January 6 tapes are his Al Capone's fault.
Yeah, right.
Does that sound right? Does that sound like
that sounds right? Yeah.
So Tucker Carlson January 6 tapes are his Al Capone's fault.
Oof.
Well, that's what it was. It was Al Capone's fault, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I remember that. Like, what was Geraldo thinking? Like he was gonna get like gold or something? Like, what did he think he was gonna uncover?
I don't know. I watched that on TV. I thought he thought it was going to be money or gold or I thought he thought it was going to be some financial stuff. I remember them speculating like with evidence, you know, like, well, we know he was into this, so maybe it was that. I saw a bunch of that type of stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it was nothing.
And I guess it was like a really like a watched big event, and
it was I watched it. I mean, I remember it being a reasonably big event.
It ruined his career, right? He never fully.
Oh yeah, he didn't. That was kind of a joke for a long time. You know, you'd hear Letterman joke about it in the evening, and I mean, it was like it got into the popular culture pretty quickly.
Anything that would make him a serious journalist died that day, basically.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that though is that was like a mainstream thing. But Tucker Carlson, you know, he gets to escape on Fox News. He will never face until Fox News is tired of him and fires him. But it's not like you think the audience gives a shit.
No.
The tapes could be a nothing burger. They'll just say the same thing. Like, oh, well, you know, Nancy Pelosi erased the real footage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are conspiracy theorists. They will always find something to like support their.
I love to like. Why did Nancy Pelosi call the cops? Like, Trump is in charge. The White House is in charge of DC, not Nancy Pelosi.
It's exhausting, like going onto Twitter these days and like trying to participate in conversations because like a lot of them just circle back around to like, oh, it wasn't original paint, or they keep looking for this external reason as to why things went poorly. When 9 times out of 10 it's because of something they did, you know. I mean, it just is. I mean,
yeah. Well, I don't know what else would come out of it. Like I said, I don't think even if it's a complete nothing burger, which we all know it is.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's gonna hurt Tucker Carlson. It's not like Tucker Carlson's trying to like vie to be on like, 60 Minutes. Like he's on the number one. Like that's what I love too. When all these like any of these idiots that watch like Fox News, they say like you watch mainstream media. It's like no,
right. Fox is mainstream media.
Literally, like Tucker Carlson is supposedly one of the most watched programs in the country. Like he's mainstream as fuck.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we don't think it's mainstream because we think it's crazy, but if the majority of people are watching it, that makes him mainstream.
That's by definition, yeah.
Yeah. So like he's not like he doesn't have to be, he's in a sweet spot. He does not have to show credibility. It's actually great. It's like he has more of an opportunity to get away with shit than Bill O'Reilly could ever have.
Oh.
Because the funny thing is, like, he's right. He said Bill O'Reilly sells himself as the everyday man. Tucker Carlson, does he sell himself as the everyday man?
No,
he
doesn't.
I'm curious if people like watch him and think like, oh yeah, here's a guy who grew up in Levittown, just like Bill O'Reilly, working class.
Right.
It's like, no, everyone knows he's like a little rich Fauntleroy. Like, then he went to like a fancy like private school, like prep schools and all that. And I mean, like, we all know who he's. What was it? Oh yeah, he was part of like, what was it, like the Dan White Society or some shit, which is the name of the guy who killed Harvey Milk.
Oh geez.
Yeah, in college he was part of the Dan White Society or something. So he's always been a piece of shit. This isn't new.
No, it's just like kind of accelerated a little.
And the joke is the guy's rich as fuck if he does this show or not. He doesn't have to do this show. Like I said, I think he gets he's in this sweet spot where he doesn't have to face, he could lie all the time.
Yeah.
And the only way he'll face any type of credibility is if he's sued.
Well, hopefully Dominion will take care of that.
I don't know. Yeah. And like I said, I think that's the other thing about this January 6th thing. Is like, how do you separate the January 6th thing from the Trump lie about the election? And you know, it's like I said, they're working on a tightrope. It's like, why were the people there for January 6th? Well, they were there because Trump lied and got these people all ginned up saying that, and they tried basically stealing an election.
Yeah, right. And he was actively inviting them there and stuff. I mean, he was kind of pulling the strings behind it.
Oh, Trump. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. There's really nothing else to be said about that.
Yeah, not really.
Like I said, it's just reiterate really quick. It doesn't matter what's on there. They're going to push the same bullshit, lies, and conspiracies. Speaking of conspiracies, do you see, dude, there's a great, what are those guys called? The Good Liars? Those two guys? Like the polo guy and the guy. They go up to like Trump supporters and they ask them like questions. You know, the Good Liars?
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. I just haven't seen like a recent one. If you're referring
so there's one where they talk to the guy who pretends to be JFK Jr.
Okay. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find Good Liars
JFK guy.
JFK Jr.
Oh
God, it's so fucking funny.
It is so weird.
Yeah, they went to CPAC. This guy's named Dave Ram. He's one of them. He's the shorter guy. And let me see if the CPAC the video of him talking to the guy who pretends to be. I mean, this guy's like living the high life. He's going on like a tour bus and everything.
Yeah.
And they bring up a good point and say like, how is it that like he said, how did you survive or something? The guy wouldn't answer.
Right.
Wow. Let me see if I can find this video. Oh man, it's not showing up. Liars meet man who may not be JFK. Good liars man who may not be JFK Jr. They make the joke saying like he refuses to answer any questions. He just gets on the bus. He's wearing like an Ashley Babbitt shirt. This guy's so gross looking. First of all. So JFK Jr. was this like good looking guy, and this guy looks like
he looks like Joe Camel.
He looks like if JFK Jr. was left out in the sun and turned into a raisin, I guess.
Sure. Or that.
If he was a grape, I guess that's so they're talking and they have like that great their voices are so good.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting, you know, he's like, I'm 6'3" and JFK Jr. was 6'1". That guy was definitely not like he's basically the same height as the short one, who's clearly like probably 5'8" or whatever. And it's so funny. It's like, why? That's how you know these people are lost. If anyone believes this guy's JFK Jr., you have no critical thinking skills.
Right. And it's tough to argue that you do. It's tough.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to use a lot of critical thinking skills to believe you. Like,
that's a tough one. That's a big hill to climb. That's big.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Okay, so we were going to say John Oliver, Ron DeSantis. Was there anything specific from that you want to talk about, or just
Well,
like Ron
you
DeSantis is a shithead? We know that already.
yeah, that's why I kind of like debated as to whether or not this was worth like an entry in the list tonight. You had seen the John Oliver, he did like an 8.5 minute bit with John, not with DeSantis, but on Ron DeSantis. And I saw it too, and I watched it again after you and I talked about it. And it was good. It was like kind of a masterful takedown of Ron DeSantis. I look, I find Florida really difficult to understand. I mean, like Republicans underperformed everywhere in the country, but overperformed in Florida.
And it's not like it's not like they deserve to perform well in Florida, right?
No, Florida, yeah,
home insurance prices have gone up
crazy. Cost of living's gone up. I mean, it's like nothing's super different about Florida than anything else. The only thing I keep coming back to is that, like, look, Florida's a service economy state. Most people work in the service industry. When that got shut down for the coronavirus thing under Trump, a lot of them were probably struggling to make ends meet. I don't know. I mean, like, that's the only thing I can think of. But, like, I don't know that explains it. But anyway, Florida's gone super red. You know, most of these other states, like Georgia's gone maybe purple. Arizona's gone maybe purple. You know, I mean, like, aside from Virginia, the other outlier here, Florida's just like a big outlier, you know? So anytime I see Ron DeSantis, it's just like, you know, that's in the back of my head. Anyway, so John Oliver didn't go through that in the video clip, but that's kind of what put Ron DeSantis on the radar for us to talk about.
Well, real quick, get out of the way, going back to CPAC, another, he wasn't there.
Right.
The joke is that, like, I guess the establishment Republicans, like the MSNBC Republicans, or what you want to call them, or Fox News too. Fox News, the mainstream Republicans, are pushing this guy. But I guess on a national level, and even like when it comes to the conservative party and stuff like that, they're not taking the bait. So I guess they did the like CPAC straw polls. Of course, Trump wins. He didn't even come in first as a VP pick, Ron DeSantis. Carrie Lake came in first, of course. I think it's hysterical. It's like Carrie Lake. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is a joke. But like and not a good one. No. But the fact is that this guy didn't even come in like second or third, I think, in this for VP. Like, okay, so like what about, I mean, was there anything specific that he talked about in the episode? I watched him. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember a lot of it. Like, it kind of, I saw it days ago, and it kind of like went, whoo, I would start baby Grover flip into Cherry Blank's arms, and it's like, I don't even know what Ron DeSantis is anymore.
Yeah, like, I don't remember a play-by-play of the video, but it was like
had a perfect recount.
Ron DeSantis has just gone like comically over the top with his demands and his ideas, and honestly, Florida's giving him everything he wants. You know?
That's the crazy thing. It's like, I mean, if you want to talk about like how this guy is scary, is that like this guy's getting everything he wants in Florida. I mean, and like, you think he'll do the same if he became president? Like, I don't understand. It's like, I don't know. I mean, if we don't have anything specific to talk about from the thing, I mean, we know he sucks. We talk about this guy a little too much, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I guess that's the other danger, is like it elevates him.
I mean, I think it's important to bring up that he sucks, but I mean, what's new?
That's
making it hard for people to read books in the school. He's
so stupid. I guess that's it. He's still. I mean,
listen, I'm glad that John Oliver did a whole segment on him. Maybe we should have watched it before we talked about it.
But I remember it. I mean, it wasn't like I said, I mean, I don't remember it point by point by point, but it was just it was the litany of things that DeSantis has been doing. And it's scary. It's like scary stuff. It's like they're one of the latest ones is he wanted, if you were a blogger writing about him, he wanted you to register with the state. Like, that's just like, And you can imagine, you imagine for a moment Biden doing that, or or Newsom doing that, like making conservative bloggers register with the state. I mean, it's just
It's it's just like double speak shit where like you got guys like Joe Rogan saying the reason why he likes Ron DeSantis because he thinks he's like the freedom candidate and that Florida is the freedom state. And you're like, what? And then you hear all these stories that are going on when it comes to education, reporters, and everything. You're like, fuck
but they keep voting for him. I mean, like, part of me would like to kind of invent some conspiracy theory, and I think there is some. I think there's something there with shadiness over voter registration and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the Republicans still would be running away with these races.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they would be. The people who live in Florida who vote are voting Republican, and despite, or maybe because of all this really bad behavior. So
yeah, they love it. That's why I said it doesn't. It's like Tucker Carlson with the videos. Doesn't matter if there's any truth in there. It doesn't make a fucking difference. The point is to just constantly obscure the facts, obscure reality, distort reality, and it's like it doesn't matter if this. You know what? I mean, like, has any of these idiots realized like their taxes have gone up because of him?
No, I mean, that's the thing, is that, like, Florida's gotten really difficult to live in, and I don't know. It's inexplicable to me that they keep.
And this guy has no charisma. That's the other thing that's crazy too. It's like this whole thing. You're just like, you look at him, you're like, what? The guy looks
what am I missing? Yeah, that's it. Like, I guess that's it.
Yeah, it's like, what am I missing here? It's like the same thing with like Trump. Like, what brain virus? I mean, fuck. It's like looking at Hitler. Yeah. What about this guy that you find appealing?
Right.
Like this guy, he looks like a fucking clown. I mean, I mean, like, what about this person that appeals to you? And usually it's racism, bigotry. That's really all it is. They won't admit to it.
But that's the crux of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like literally all of it. It is the reason why they can get away with anything. Why Tucker Carlson can say what the fuck he wants. Why Michael Knowles can lie and say out of one side of his mouth, I didn't say anything, and out the other mouth literally constantly call for the eradication of a group of people.
Yeah.
Our media is completely split, and one side has no standards. As long as you stick to the script, you could get away with murder.
Yeah. No, we've seen that time and time again.
Well, go ahead. What?
I was going to talk about Marianne Williamson.
Oh yeah. Speaking of chuds, now I don't have a problem with this woman at all, and honestly, I don't really like. So she announced to run for president, and I don't even know what party she's running under.
I think she's running for the Democratic nomination.
I don't think so. I don't think she's running as a Democrat. If she is, she's going to get completely eviscerated. Like, well, then
I think she's running in the Green Party then, right?
Running in Green? I don't even fucking know. I'm like, well, she announced it, and I was like, come on. I'm like, listen, this is not I liked her during the campaign because there was other candidates when she was around. She didn't even I don't even think she even made it to December. I think she didn't make it to even the primary vote. She was considered a joke. She's the orb lady. She's some weird, she was like another Oprah character. And she's well-meaning, but I'm like, what about her that makes her a better politician than Joe Biden? I mean, I'm just like, what is she? What does she have? Like a machine? Does she no, not a machine, like a literal machine, like an apparatus, a voting?
No, I know what you mean. Does she have a treasurer? Movement? Does she have a social media team? Does she have a
for anything? Like, she made any accomplishments when it comes to I think her becoming president? All of a sudden, we're gonna have Meta. What do you call it? We're gonna have Medicare for
for
all.
all.
No,
Yeah.
and I don't think she even was for it when she ran in 2020. I don't think she ever said she was for it. She said she
No,
was for like love or some shit.
if you look at her website, she outlines her positions and they're all kind of vague. I guess I'm with you. I don't have a problem with her per se.
Seems like a waste of time.
It does. It seems like a waste of time. The one thing I will say, and I said this at the right when we first started doing the episode tonight, I said I have some thoughts pro and con about this. I do like it when a weirdo candidate gets in and influences the debate before exiting. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say
exiting part's very important.
It is. They got to get out of the way because, and I look. He turned out to be a grifter, and I don't like the guy. But like Andrew Yang is a good example of that. I was never going to vote for Andrew Yang. I didn't want Andrew Yang to win. I knew he wouldn't win. I was grateful he was in there talking about raising the minimum wage or all that kind of stuff because like people should be talking about that.
Well,
and
no, his goal push was UBI.
Oh, yeah.
Thing about UBI, though.
I'm sorry, yeah.
If you just, you always be like, well, how do you think this is going to install? That never, I felt like, was asked. And then if you asked him another question, he would basically get rid of all social programs and have this bullshit UBI. Yeah. But his UBI was crap because it was like, okay, well, what are you going to do to prevent, like, people getting extorted now from this money? The funny thing is we actually witnessed this in 2021 with we got
checks,
UBI with the stimulus, and what happened during that stimulus?
That's a lot of people stole that money. Businesses.
You saw crypto schemes pop up like crazy. People probably wasted all their fucking stimulus money on bullshit and all kinds of bullshit collectibles and everything. Like the whole markets were like going crazy, and there was tons of crypto schemes around that time and NFT bullshit. Yeah. And that's kind of like where he comes from, though. He's like, he's like a Trojan horse for like Peter Thiel. I understand what you're saying. On the surface, the discussion of UBI is an interesting thing to have. It's like, okay, well, how are we going to have this? And like, you think that that's going to go through? We can't even get like healthcare.
But like having an Andrew Yang, and like I said, he's a bad example because he turned out to be a grifter. But having an Andrew Yang participate in the process briefly switches the question from should we have UBI to, well, how can we have UBI? Yeah, it's like he played a role in that, and look, I'm not even sure I can like defend that claim.
His UBI too was a cover for like Silicon Valley schemes.
Yeah, but even so, it's like, okay, so Andrew Yang introduced the idea. The way he introduced it was kind of shitty.
It's always existed.
I know, but like
he made it his platform.
Yes, and it got talked about. Then all of a sudden, you saw other Democratic candidates having to talk about it, and they never would have wanted to talk about it before. Right. They didn't want to talk about UBI because it was a headache. It's a sticky subject. But like Andrew Yang's up there talking about it, so now maybe that former governor, who's the Colorado governor that was not Kitzhaber? Well, anyway, you have other candidates talking about it. So I like candidates like Marianne Williamson, or I like candidates like that getting involved in the process. Sadly, they're often grifters like Tulsi or Yang, but I agree with you. I don't think Williamson is a grifter candidate. I
think she's a grifter because I think what is her purpose? And I think she's going to get a bunch of donations from a bunch of groups. It's not going to go anywhere. It's like, I feel like we live in these times now where, I feel like people need to like kind of hold on to their money a little bit or use it more wisely. And the idea of like, I got loans I got to pay, but I got to donate to Marianne Williamson's pathetic failed attempt at, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that bugs me the most is that it is a grift. She knows she has no chance. What is she going to introduce that's going to change the course of the election in 2024? We have one candidate who's the president right now. and he's gonna run on like, hey, I'm Joe, I'm keeping the job going. Let's make sure. And then you're gonna have another one that is like a complete fascist. It's either gonna be Trump or DeSantis or some other sewer monster. And they're going to be preaching something. And Mary Williamson will just come in and say something. She's not going to change the mind of the right winger. She's not, and Joe Biden's just going to be like, yeah, I agree, a lot of things, but we got to like, make sure the country's not taken over by a fascist sewer monster. And I just think she's going to add nothing, absolutely nothing. And I don't understand the appeal of her from like I'm sorry, this is like the same thing with like Jill Stein. I'm like, I just hate Democrats. There's a lot of these, like, I knew a lot of these people that they like left-leaning things, but they came from Republican families. So a lot of these people, what they would do is they would vote Green Party so they didn't piss off their Republican parents.
Right.
And if anything, the Republican parents are like, good. Oh no, like there was a great, like, I think it was like Hard Times of the Onion. It was like Trump loving uncle and like Green Party voting in like, I don't know, like he's like happy to have her around, it's like, yeah, they serve a purpose. They're a spoiler party. They've done nothing. I'm not, this doesn't make me anti-democratic or anything. It's like they are a literal spoiler party.
Entity.
There's no, like, they pop up every 4 years. You hear about them. There might be some like small, like there might be like a Green Party mayor somewhere or whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't.
There like, usually is, like in Vermont or something.
If they were serious, you would have like Congress people and senators and maybe a governor. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh no, I agree.
They're not and you find out they're getting funded by like Republican groups. So I just think she's a waste of fucking time. Like I said, I don't hate her. I just think that like she should not, like, she doesn't deserve any, like, I see like these like left media grifters and like people like, how dare you attack Marianne Williamson or say anything? And I'm like, I have every right to say that I think it's stupid. Like, this is dumb. It's a waste of time. I wrote, anyone pushing Marianne Williamson for president should not be taken seriously. She's not a serious candidate.
Yeah, she isn't.
Like, and there's one person, a big fan of yours, but while she not seriously go the primary Biden, we should not accept a candidate NED that doesn't agree with the majority of her positions. And I wrote, what are the majority of her positions? I got to beef with this guy. Jason Cole is now a Green Party. He says, I'm on her policy team. Her positions are listed here, and we'll be publishing more in the upcoming days. I wrote, like, he's like, more corporate-owned Democrats will not fight for these policies, and most progressives won't fight back against the corporatists. I'm like, cool, enjoy fleecing people while making false promises. Oh, okay, bud. And then he like told me, he said, let's see if where it is it. He's like, love your pin. I said, yeah, that's it. I witnessed the Green Party's false promise for decades. Have fun being a spoiler party that makes it easier for Trump, DeSantis, or whatever other hate monger sewer creature the GOP props up. He's like, have fun hating democracy, I guess. And I wrote, yeah, that's it. Thank you for making it easy for the fascist, anti-democrat, democracy GOP to take over. He wrote, fuck you, buddy. I've been fighting fascists 30 years. Corporate Dems in it.
Sure.
I wrote, at Marianne Williamson, I added her and I said, policy team member, telling someone to F themselves on social media is clearly the sign of a serious candidate. Oh God. And then
there's a lot there. He gives a lot of material.
I mean, like, anyone that's pushing her to be president, it's a waste of time. That's all I'm saying. Of course it's a grift, because if you're donating money to her, it's going literally, you might as well flush it down the toilet. You might as well take money and flush it down the toilet. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I just think this election is, I mean, I'm so tired of like, this election is more important. We have to make sure we vote Democrat. But you know what? We do. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And you know what? If Marianne Williamson was serious, she was a truly serious candidate, she'd run for like senator somewhere.
Yeah.
Run you know what? Run against Joe Manchin. Like, Run against fucking, you know what I mean? Like, if you're truly this serious candidate who like wants to serve in government and all that, run for mayor somewhere, run for governor, run for Senate, run for Congress. I bet she could find a seat somewhere and run for Congress.
Yeah.
Go to like the weirdest, like go to Oklahoma in the weirdest area and just say you're not a Democrat, and you end up winning because you're not a Dem and you're in Congress. You know,
slide to victory.
I believe that's an incredibly plausible thing to do in like an area. If you go to an area,
that's what a lot of people have done.
And you're
so
not,
George Santos did.
Yeah, well, George Santos was Republican though.
I know. I'm just saying.
And I'm talking about like she can go out to like somewhere in Oklahoma and run for Congress against someone and say like, hey, I stand for all these things, and they're like, you're some Democrat. She could say, no, I'm not, and then they vote for her because they hate Dems, but they like all the ideas of a Dem. And then you get Marianne Williamson in Congress.
Yeah,
I believe that's more plausible than her failed presidential run, where she's just going to be looked at as a joke. And I guess the other thing was, I saw like, I guess Biden's press secretary, someone asked the press secretary about it, and the press secretary made a joke saying that she'd have to like go to a crystal ball or something.
Geez.
I thought it was funny personally. I'm like, what? That joke works. That's what that lady's all about. Like, I'm sorry. You know what? I like Dennis Kucinich. You remember him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's from Ohio, right?
Yeah. He was in Ohio. Yeah. But let me tell you, I knew his presidential run was done in 2008 when he was at one of the debate stage and he said something about aliens. And I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
Done. It is over. It is over. If the orb lady, yes, you should be allowed to make jokes about her. Like that is. So when I was talking about like birthday candidates, I said that was the other thing too. I said that like, you know, well, let me see if I find it.
Yeah.
Twitter. I said just remember that leftist media pushed clowns like Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, and Marianne Williamson. All these grifters did was siphon away support from Bernie Sanders. And that's true. They did. In the early game, like you confuse the marketplace. That's you know what I mean? Like if you like look at like, politics as like a marketplace, having multiple candidates come out and say that they're the alternative, they're the whatever, they're just as progressive as Bernie. Well, then you confuse the marketplace when everyone really should have just been thrown in with Bernie. And like, the guy that's a serious candidate. He's been senator for years. He's the guy who's going to get in. And he knows how the system actually works. It's not a joke.
Turned out to be that was the case, you know, for the most part.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like, and they push these clowns. And the joke was too, is that none of these three candidates I mentioned were any, like, they were not true leftists and everything. I said, what are these clowns doing now? Tulsi Gabbard's a right-wing Fox News chud, which he is. Andrew Yang formed a third-party grift, and Marianne Williamson is taking political donations for a failed run for president. That's the thing that bothers me about it. It's not the whole, like, she's running. It's the whole, like, the idea that people are going to donate thousands of dollars to this lady, and it's just, send it to me. Send them, send it to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it will amount to the same amount in the end. Like, I could go out and say, I agree. Medicare for all. Send me all that money.
Yeah.
I'll get the message out.
Right. Start a newsletter.
I just think, like, again, that's, I hate, like, and anyone, like I said, anyone that's pushing her, that's in the media or anything like that, you shouldn't take them seriously. Like, that's a sign that like, you're a joke too. Like, I saw like this guy, Kyle Kalinske, and he's like this leftist guy. He goes on Rogan a lot, right? And he's like, I don't know. Politics are weird. And he was like, he's heavily pushing her. And I'm like, that's a sign that this guy's a joke. You shouldn't take him seriously.
Yeah.
He's telling you that, like, listen, if you don't like Joe Biden, that's fine. You don't have to like him. But you have to, like, understand the fact that, like, the country would be better off with him for 4 more years than if Ron DeSantis got in.
Yeah. Biden at least appoints people that are generally good at their job.
He's not
And
clearing libraries out of books.
yeah, and he's been a centrist. I mean, much to my chagrin, but he's been more or less a centrist, I would say. Although he is like putting a lot of judges on the bench, which is nice.
I would say he's, like I said, he ran as a centrist, and he's definitely more progressive than most people think. And that's what I said. Anyone that's pushing for these bullshit waste of time candidates, like, you just gotta like grow up. I'm sorry. I know that sounds like there's no way to say it without like,
It's tough love. Yeah.
it's not like this edgy, like edgelord bullshit, like of like, yeah, let's vote for her. Fuck Joe Biden. The
Right.
suck. It's like, I mean, that's the kind of bullshit that you get with like people like, I know we're gonna change the order because I think it's segues. The kind of people that like this middle ground bullshit or whatever, they claim they're more to the left, but they hate the Dems too. And that's like that Russell Brand kind of bullshit. It's like,
yeah.
Like, and then these guys always end up becoming fucking right wingers.
It seems that way.
Jimmy Dore was another one who was like, both parties suck and everything like that. I'm the true progressive. The guy's a straight up right winger. Like Roseanne Barr is another example.
Yep.
A Green Party person years ago. She always hated the Dems. I remember she was on like Air America, and I remember listening. She was like, subbing in for someone. Yeah, her voice is awful to begin with. So it's like, and she kept on calling the Dems like the Demorats or Democrats.
Oh my God, really?
Like really accentuating the rat part or something, which was like actually right out of the Rush Limbaugh playbook.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh was the one that made the whole like calling the party a Democrat instead of Democratic party. Because like, and it's funny, you don't think about it, but it's like, yeah, Democrat is a actual like derogatory term to a Democrat.
Yeah.
Democratic. But I think it's like, it's funny. It's like easier to say Democrat than it is to say Democratic. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
That's why it's probably easy branding. But I just feel like you see all these like people in media and like all this stuff, and they just, it's like they call it like horseshoe theory, but like you see all these people who are like claim they're on the left, and they end up becoming just chuds. And like I said, Russell Brand is like this example.
A good example. Yeah.
He's like this. I guess he went on Bill Maher. I saw the clip, and he was just like attacking MSNBC, and the guy was on. He's like, well, what if you're equating MSNBC to Fox? Like Fox, like you call it MSNBC for like, let's say like having too many people that used to be on the George W. Bush administration. Like that's a fair critique, or you know, you can criticize them, but no way in hell is there an equivalency to MSNBC and Fox News.
Right.
Fox News is the literal arm of the Republican Party, like, and the Republican. You cannot link the two. And then he started going on. He couldn't answer the question, and so he just does his like little tweety voice. So like he does like he sounds like a chimney sweep or something. And you know, because he's just like it's like, again, like maybe this guy shouldn't be taken seriously. Clearly doesn't understand what he's talking about. He starts talking about like how MSNBC attacked ivermectin, Joe Rogan for pushing ivermectin. It's like, well, and I'm like, wait. You don't think that's a valid thing to attack? It's like saying like you can't make fun of Marianne Williamson for, I don't know, having a crystal ball or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That is objectively funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. You cannot say it's not. Like we can argue if it's a
but it's funny. You know, it's undeniably funny.
But you're telling me that MSNBC cannot report on the fact that you're pushing horse paste and that you should be taken seriously. They had to do clinical trials because of the right wing pushing ivermectin. So that like money and resources and time wasted having to come out and say, yeah, the thing that we knew didn't help COVID, guess what? Doesn't help COVID. But we had to put man hours on, whatever, people hours on it. We had to do all this thing, money gone into research and time being the most precious resource of all.
Yeah.
To come back so we could say to you that no, it didn't work, and then you still go out and lie because your audience doesn't care what the truth is.
Yeah, they're not interested in the truth. I mean, they want this narrative, but
you come out with the result saying that ivermectin was not a real thing. They could just come out and say, "Well, that's some George Soros lie."
Right. Yeah.
Globalist agenda, and then they're like, right back to square one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're familiar with Russell Brand, right?
Yeah.
Like he's in a bunch of movies. I feel like, you know, he was in that remake of Arthur, and it didn't do well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think we're paying for it now. Yeah, he's like become like a YouTube guy. It's like new
Oh.
age bullshit. But like I said, it's like he claims he like, he'll quote Chomsky and all that, but he's pushing like right-wing narrative. There was like a photo of him recently taking a picture with Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think you're lost. And then he recently did like an interview with Steven Crowder.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. There's not really anything to say about it. It's just this guy sucks.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple things left. We have the Elon tweet.
I think that's it.
Oh, yeah, because we did talk about Russell Brand and stuff.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. The Elon tweet. The Elon tweet, I've blocked Elon Musk. I had to unblock him
too. But the joke is if you block him, but if you click on his thing shows up. No one else has that. He has like a secret pass. He has an invisible force field on Twitter.
Yeah.
I blocked him, and then I'll click on it that says like this person or whatever.
Right.
And then you click on it and it shows it. It doesn't do that for anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
he's like the guy. You ever see that movie Ready Player One, or read the book?
I read the book. I did not see the movie.
Okay, well, I don't know if they changed a lot from the book. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bad guy who's trying to get control, like a corporation that's trying to get control of the game universe of Ready Player One.
Right.
And have like obviously more nefarious plans, like make it more tiered and make it more expensive, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's what Elon Musk reminds me of, the bad guy from Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Because the minute he got Twitter, it's like he just had all these horrible ideas. Like, I'm going to charge people money to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give special favors to people who are willing to pay this. Disrupt Chiano.
Yeah, that's it. And he has no. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's a moron or anything, but he doesn't know Twitter. He thinks he knows Twitter, but he doesn't. He could very well be a moron.
I think the fact is that, this guy has been plotted as a modern day genius, being rivaled with like Albert Einstein.
Yep.
They list this guy and they promote him and say like, like Joe Rogan running PR for him a couple years ago, saying that this guy's going to save the world.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, and he said it multiple times, and it's like, how is this guy going to save the world?
Right.
I mean, we're not on Mars. He claimed we'd be on Mars in 2000. Like in 2010, he claimed in 10 years we'd be on Mars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's never his vehicles, the electric cars and bullshit AI self-driving cars have proven not to be self-driving and have caused more accidents and explosions. Well, the whole thing started. Let me see if I can find this guy. Kali, is that his name?
I think so.
Jeez, let me see. Like, there's like a whole back and forth. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to find this guy's like account. You posted it or sent me a tweet not too long ago. Holly, sorry.
Yes.
So I guess he fired this guy, and Holly like tweeted basically saying like, hey, I was like let go or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a back and forth, and Elon basically claimed like the guy's like explaining like, he's like, what do you do here or whatever, and he's explaining what he does, and then like Elon Musk is being like real mocking and posting like the gif from Office Space with the two Michaels, yep. Making fun of that guy who explains what he does there. And they're like, wait, you're just a guy who like just moves one thing to another. We could remove you. Like, it's that famous thing. And trying to equate that this guy does that. And it's like, that's not true at all. This guy's like created a program, and I guess he sold it to Twitter years ago, and he's still employed. And I guess he said like he took less money because he believed in Twitter. This is before he got his grasp on it. But he's still worth like, like 100 million or something like that. I don't even know. And then, he's very insulting to this guy. Mm-hmm. And then he basically outs his disability or something. And you said that's like the first time
HIPAA.
What did you say?
First actual HIPAA violation on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like funny. Most people probably didn't know what a HIPAA violation was until like when someone asked Marjorie Taylor Greene if she was vaccinated, and she claimed that that was a HIPAA violation to ask her or something. But what Elon Musk did was an actual HIPAA violation, I guess, right?
Well,
This guy.
Yeah, I mean, like the core of it is that Elon Musk disclosed. I guess this guy told HR, I have a disability, I need these accommodations. And then Elon Musk announced on Twitter that this guy claimed he has a disability. And that's a huge violation. I think it's a HIPAA, but if not HIPAA, it's like an ADA violation. It's like a legitimate thing. For years, all these right-wing chuds have been saying, like, if you ask me to wear a mask, that's a HIPAA violation. If you ask me to do this, it's a HIPAA. But this is an actual violation. You can't disclose someone else's confidential information. You can't do that. If I transfer my medical records to HR to establish a disability, HR can't then distribute those records to everyone. It's not all right.
Yeah, because then he was like insulting the guy and saying like, well, how are you tweeting so much? And it's like, well, first of all, all he has to do is one finger.
Yeah, right.
It's like, so yeah, it was like really dismissive and attacking this guy, and it's like, and I guess like clearly his lawyers talked to him, because then like Elon Musk put out a tweet apologizing. Oh, definitely, no way Musk would have fucking apologized.
No,
this guy isn't just like a regular employee, and like he just like revealed like a bunch of like probably like things that are not supposed to be revealed, like he probably does for Twitter, or the stuff that he did, the stuff he sold to Twitter or whatever. And again, the biggest one being the thing about this guy. What?
Yeah. Well, it was, I wanted to say like a small town mentality, but it was like, I don't know. It was just such a self-inflicted wound. It was like everything that is Elon Musk,
Well, yeah, and the funny, the best is this guy put out like this chain. I'm trying to find it. Like
it was, I know the one you're talking about. It was like 7 tweets long or something.
He's like, but as I told HR, I'm assuming that's confidential health information you're sharing. I can't work as a hands-on designer for the reasons outlined above. I'm typing this on my phone, by the way. It's easier because I only need to use one finger. He said, I can, however, write for an hour or two at a time. I guess he has like muscular dystrophy or something.
And it's a progressive condition, so it's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, which is sad. It's like this wasn't a problem in Twitter 1.0 since I was a senior director and my job was mostly to help teams move forward, give them strategic and tactical guidance. But as I told HR, I'm assuming he goes, I hope that helps. Let me know if you're going to pay what you owe me. I think you could afford it. Somebody, the first tweet is like the best one. It's a lot. It's not one.
Mm-hmm.
About 9 years ago, I started a company called Un.co. I worked a lot, whatever. We worked for more or less for every big tech company. We grew fast and made money. I think that's what you're referring to when you say independently wealthy.
Right.
He's trying to say this guy was independently wealthy and trying to, again, like, don't feel any sympathy.
Yeah, like he's the son
rich,
of a,
not like me, who's, He said that I independently made my money as opposed to say inherited an emerald mine.
Right.
So that right there is great.
It was filled with little zings. He talked in the next tweet. I think he says like, I sold it to a company like Twitter, which used to be a big company or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
there's all like little jabs. And he goes, but after 7 years, I was tired. COVID was running for longer than the 2 weeks he said it would.
Right.
That's him again making fun of. Elon said COVID would be over in 2 weeks. And my body was also continuing to get weaker. After leaving at many options, I decided to sell my company to Twitter. Financially, it wasn't that best decision. My company was making a lot of, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but like, he said, but like you, I made a bet on Twitter having a lot more potential than it has had.
Right. Yeah.
I joined at a time when the company was growing fast. You kind of did the opposite. Anyway, I digress. There was the one about the loving family. That he has like a loving wife, and that he has 2 kids, and he enjoys seeing them, and he recommends that, which is like that again at Elon having like 12 kids, and he's like the worst dad in the world or something. Like he doesn't like see any of his kids. You think I don't know if his kid disowned him, the one that's trans, or he disowned that kid.
Yeah. I
Like
don't know. I don't know what happened with that. I know
again,
that they don't speak, but
again, it's just like the Tucker Carlson thing. It's just like Russell Brand. It's just like Marshall Green or anything. These people can say whatever the fuck they want, and the foaming at the mouth supporters don't care. Elon Musk, do you think any of his supporters will, well, you know what, Elon, I agree you 100%, but I'm going to say, here, you look bad. You look, I'm going to say this was probably a bad idea, sir, and I don't think this was a good idea. You probably owe this man an apology.
Yeah, I would say that this is probably more of a danger to Elon's reputation than others, simply because if this guy sues, he could win. I mean, that's not going to change anybody's mind right now, but this guy could win a lawsuit. I think.
Regardless if it changes anyone's, the idiots that support Musk, or any of the weirdos or bots or whatever the fuck they are at this point, this is going to damage Musk on a financial, publicly. There's a lot here. I mean, I kind of hope this guy sues him, but I don't know. He says that the guy still has a job if you want. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird. You're correct in that, like, when you see Elon apologize, something's up.
Yeah, it was a day later. He didn't come to his senses. It was probably like the fucking lawyer wrote that tweet, if anything. Well,
this guy said that he is opening a restaurant in honor of his mother. He showed photographs of it. This guy may just not want to come back to Twitter. I wouldn't. If he's independently wealthy and he's going to start a new restaurant business or whatever, then why would he fucking want to deal with this headache?
Still have that lawsuit.
True.
Just to make Elon Musk go crazy or whatever. Yeah. I don't think Musk should get away with this at all.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's like a straight up like. The HIPAA thing is like that alone should be enough to win.
Yeah.
It's like even it might be like a fucking huge settlement out of this. Even you know what I mean?
Possible, yeah.
Person has to pay this guy like God knows what, hundreds of millions of dollars. The joke is like this guy. I don't know what Musk's wealth is anymore. Like he was the rich for a minute in like 2021. He was the richest guy in the world. He went, and that's the other thing too. That's why I hated COVID so much, because of like the disparity it created. Like where all these people like jobs immediately, and then you see guys like Musk who like he didn't double his wealth, he didn't quadruple his. He like I don't even know what the time 40 times, 50 times his wealth. It was like I don't know if there's like a way to
calculate
verbalize it. He went from being worth like a couple of billion to being worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And how? I don't even know. I think a lot of it might have been a lot of crypto schemes.
Yeah, like that would make sense.
But so who knows how much wealth this guy actually has? And with the whole Twitter thing, I still think the Twitter thing, though, I don't think he 100% paid for it. I think there's like Russian oligarch money in there, because like the timing, he had some weird Putin tweet, and then the next day he announced he was finally going to buy it.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, it was very in support of Putin. And then the whole Saudi thing, there's a whole like the Saudis gave him a ton of money too. So I don't think this guy, everyone's like, haha, he used his own money. And I'm like, I don't know if it's really his money.
Yeah, I suspect it's not.
At some point, there's a chance this guy might disappear one day. And it's not because someone doesn't like Elon Musk. It's because someone who gave him the money for Twitter is not going to be happy with him.
Oof.
So this was, there was a great tweet. I think I sent it to you. Forgot her name. She follows me. I follow her too on here.
Yeah.
She kind of just like broke it down pretty good about the whole Musk thing. Oh yeah, there it is. It's from Ashley Lynch. She says, no matter how shitty your week is going, at the very least, you didn't accidentally fire someone that could require $100 million payout while also illegally disclosing and mocking the disability, opening yourself up to a massive lawsuit. That week is reserved for geniuses. So that's the joke, is that, by firing him, he's required to give this guy $100 million. So this guy, this guy is, yeah, he's probably like, yeah, sure. And then with the whole HIPAA violation, it's like, so this guy, I mean, let's not, I mean, I feel sorry for him because he might not be around for years.
Yeah.
Because of his horrible, debilitating disease. But like, his family should be well taken care of. And they might be more well taken care of because of whatever lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I kind of wish that Disney Plus would go back into Iron Man 2 and just scrub the Elon Musk.
Zap him. Yeah.
Yeah, that scene where Tony Stark talks to him in Monaco for a second.
Yeah. It is bizarre how much goodwill this guy has squandered. I know I've said that myself like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, it is crazy how he just wasn't ready for it. He wasn't ready for being well known. I don't think.
What do you mean? Oh,
yeah, he just wasn't ready for like, to watch what you say. Like often when people become famous, like there's a curve, and then they eventually are like, oh, I just can't spout off with whatever I feel like spouting off with.
Him, especially with owning Twitter now, it's gotten like worse. There's been like multiple. I feel like there's been multiple interactions. This one probably being one of the funnier ones, but I swore that there were a couple other like weird back and forths that he had where he ends up looking like the jackass in the end. Yeah. But this one might be like the one that may shut him up for quite some time. It's funny, he is in trouble or shuts up when he's just tweeting about like the success.
True.
Success. Like,
yeah.
I stopped I never followed him, but I mean I blocked him.
Right.
I don't know what he's tweeting every day, but I assure you he's probably tweeting out. Let's see, I could probably look him up since I blocked him, but I bet if I just click on him, it'll show me his. Yeah, view tweets anyway, even though I blocked him. The 8 hours ago, it's him, a SpongeBob, and it's saying me showing up late to work knowing the company hasn't gotten enough competent staff to fire me. Is that supposed to be that guy?
Yeah, I think so.
And then there's that guy Matt Wallace that just like, you know who that is? He's like a Matt Wallace. He's just this like psycho fan, Elon Musk psycho fan who like real leadership, like a bravo.
Yeah. They're such a weird group.
He posted another meme 9 hours ago of an NPC having a cartridge inserted in his head that Elon Musk is the enemy. Clicked in, and then the laser eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just funny that I blocked him, but if you click on his account, you still see it. Like I said, it's like he's got the cheat code or something. Like
he does. He absolutely does.
He's got the get out of jail. Like he's got the invisible force field. He's that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get me, invisible force field.
He plays rock, paper, scissors, dynamite, and he's always dynamite.
Rock, paper, scissors, dynamite. Oh, look at him. He's retweeting Tucker Carlson's January 6th thing. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm not missing much. It's nonsense. All right, Joseph, what did we learn this week?
Yeah, what did we learn? Well, we learned a lot about Pedro Pascal and his ability to save children.
And also allowed them to save him sometimes.
Yeah, goes both ways. Both ways.
He teaches them, and then eventually they become, it's like whether teacher and the master or whatever. I don't know.
I think the big thing to learn this week, if I were going to narrow it down, is for me to know that the next election cycle is already well underway.
I will say that I learned this week is that Mary Williamson is clearly the choice for clear thinking people who understand how elections are, and I learned a lot.
I learned that if you put the green M&M up next to Ron DeSantis wearing those white boots, it looks like they wear the same boots.
That's because they are.
Yeah.
No, I think I think Ron DeSantis, that his wife is secretly an M&M.
The green M&M.
No, I don't know about the green one, but like an M&M.
Right. She'd be like the red M&M.
Yeah, the MAGA hat.
The MAGA-M.
MAGA-M, yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It was good. I can tell you for next week, I'm super excited to see the end of The Last of Us. And I'll bet you the next episode of The Mandalorian kind of points us more clearly in the direction of this season. I think it'll be good. And then we got Ted Lasso coming back next week.
I don't have Apple, so I'm not watching it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm waiting till Severance, or at least until I know Severance is coming back.
Yeah, Severance is just. I was trying to explain to someone the other day about how good that show was. It's really hard to explain how great it is. Like,
it's not even just like, oh, the concept's cool. It is a cool concept. It's just, it's how it's done.
Exactly. Like, it works as a good sci-fi show. It works as a great critique of work. It works as a great critique of, like, how we are as people. It's funny. It's super funny.
Yep.
The acting's great. The lighting and the music and all the little details are pacing. Right. Yeah,
that's what makes it work the most too. It's like the tension and like not knowing like what the fuck is really going on. And like,
every little detail works, and it's rare to see like attention to every detail. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.